Good job.
Sweet.
You'll do
I
fine.
forgot to message you guys earlier. I had something come up, so I am on my phone. I do not have Fantasy Grounds tonight.
How
I'm really
dare
sorry.
you?
It's alright, we can make rolls for you.
Yes. Here, I'll start right now. I'll roll initiative for you. Crap, it was a nat 1. I hope that doesn't become a pattern for tonight.
Alright. I mean, the rolls, the dice have a mind of their own. They have a storytelling power, so...
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
if they dictate that Gabriel fails at everything tonight, then, you know, that's just what the dice say.
Then so be it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry for being late. It's been a really busy week.
No worries. I'm surprised I even managed to get here sort of on time.
I mean, all things considered, I think we'll start earlier tonight than we have any other night.
Oh yeah, the fact that we're all here. This is wonderful.
Okay. I keep forgetting to do this, but I did update the, what's it called? I did update the audience summary, so I'm going to post that in the chat again. It's been a while since I've remembered to do that. Okay. Let's see, Erica is grabbing something. Let me check this message from Kayla. Okay.
What's the "Hi, I'm Nomad, the War Criminal" thing about? That a joke I missed from last week, or?
Wait, where is this?
Oh no, it's because you were complaining that everyone had a negative opinion of Nomad, but there was no evidence in your mind that that had actually been the case.
And also, it was Enrique just totally kidding, going along with it, and then that's why he posted the meme.
Where was this?
Yeah.
Oh, up there.
And I got roasted by Tiffany. Guess I didn't make a good first impression after all.
That's Ted Bundy, by the way, if you didn't know who it was.
Yeah. Ted Bundy.
AKA Nomad.
Be right back.
Okay. Oh, I can turn on my camera.
They got a notification from Twitch. Welcome to the land of death.
I didn't update the name of this stream. Okay.
I will say that I don't think that Ted Bundy is exactly a good comparison because everybody actually liked Ted Bundy.
Is that a good comparison for Nomad then? Like, on as far as good for him?
Because he was complaining that people thought
If
that he was
everybody
like
hates
this
Nomad, but Nomad is not a serial killer, and then everybody liked Ted Bundy, and he was a serial
he
killer.
was a serial killer.
So maybe
Yeah, that's it. I'm switching characters. Layla can do it, I can too.
I don't think Nomad is actually like that. I don't know. I don't think the characterization is actually a bad one.
It's too late, he's already gone.
Okay, yeah, bye Nomad. He's back on the road, like a nomad.
So let me change my name to Jason. He's Bard. And he will be filling all the roles that Prince does, but better in every single way.
He's got everything the same except for he has +1 more on every skill.
Well, okay, no, sorry. What I should make is a Bard, but, like, I don't want it to be a good Bard. I just want him to be, like, known as an average Bard. Like, I'll be able to add my perform to stuff, but, like, I'll only do that sometimes instead of all the time. just because like I don't want people to know that I'm like a super good bard, just like so my enemies, for my reputation. So I'll just like do like average stuff. I'll make sure that I hold back, even though that benefits nobody, just so they think I'm a regular bard. I don't want to give the wrong impression that I'm a great bard, because then people are going to think that I'm formidable. So instead, I'm only going to do average or below average and not help people very much, just so people don't get the wrong impression of me, so that in case I need to be powerful, I can pull out all the stops, even though I probably won't do that, though, just so I can keep my good reputation of being average and holding back for no reason.
This seems oddly specific.
It's okay, just be yourself.
Okay. Well, after that
Just
tirade... babe, could you mute yourself and... Alright, you already did. Okay, sweet. Alright, then... I will give a quick recap of last time, and if anybody has any questions about what transpired, let me know. But for now... Last week, after disposing of the great worm that was there, I'm going to probably end up calling it something different every single week. For the life of me, I can't ever remember what it's called, but it was a colossal-sized undead worm. We'll go with that. So you disposed of that, realized that Melith had been taken, and then shortly thereafter, as you were preparing to make your way towards the capital, you were approached by a mysterious figure, who turned out to be this Tiffany. She introduced herself and had given a story of how she was also on her way to the capital to determine the source of the undead, and she would like to join you, and you suspiciously relented. So now, as you made to bed down that night, you were accosted, at least to some extent, by several wights and a vampire. After conversing with them for a short time, you engaged them in a fight in which you were able to subdue the vampire, kill one of the wights, and scare off the other two. You were then able to interrogate the vampire and gain certain points of information after promising him his release were he to cooperate. After which you dunked his head in holy water, effectively destroying him.
We released his miserable soul from his body. We kept our word.
Duly noted. Does anybody have any questions, either about the contents of that interview, or anything else before we continue?
I would. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I thought you were gonna give me notes on like his name and like the lieutenants and things like that, so I don't misspeak if I'm trying to disguise myself as somebody I don't even remember the name of. Wait, actually, his name is there. Varzaval.
Where did I put it?
Varzaval.
Yes, so I'll do it in the in-character chat. Or does that work, or would you like a Word doc or something?
No, that works.
Gosh dang it, I always forget which key it is. Okay, it's Alt. Whatever. Name, Varzaval. You know his appearance, you're able to replicate that. And then, yeah. Actually, I don't know of anything else that needs to be said. What other things did you want to know about him? And I can answer that, or recap that from...
No, I think that's probably fine. We know that he's under Pietro, and that Pietro is his maker, and that Pietro is the king, and that there was one other person. He did go through the list of the people. The necromancer, what's his name?
The necromancer, he said his name was Alexander. Cullen.
Cullen.
I'll write
as
that
in,
down
like,
for you.
The vampire.
Oops.
And we also learned
Sorry, I misspelled that. No relation there, by the way. There is a very specific reason for that name out of character, or out of game, but...
Yeah, to Cullen Bohannon from Hell on Wheels. We also learned about the Lich Mordecai, who comes and goes from the capital.
I will write that in as well.
Who? Mordecai?
Yeah, the Lich. And also that Varzaval is probably one of Pietro's right-hand men.
If Parzival is to be trusted, he
Yes,
mentioned
go ahead.
Emmeline Tempest is also a right-hand woman to Pietro.
Oh, that might be what I'm remembering then.
No, Parzival did say that he was like second in command to
Okay.
Pietro, but that Emmeline would also be. So
Yes,
All right.
that
so
is what
who
he
knows
said.
what's real?
Any other questions about that interview? Anything that you want to recall after this conversation right now will need intelligence checks to recall in character.
Interview. This consenting, nice, friendly interview.
It was.
you
I
had
mean,
with
it was
this neighborhood
great.
vampire.
No threat of death upon unsatisfactory results or anything like that. It was just a normal, typical Tuesday.
I think I've got a good grasp on everything. I don't even know if I'm actually going to try and... Anyways, we'll see. We'll have to feel this out.
Okay. So, most of you had your sleep interrupted by this encounter.
I would like to go to sleep after my walk.
Okay.
Wait, no, we were just finishing our turn at watching the camp, right?
Yes. You had a little bit of sleep that you needed still, but you have gotten... Those of you who had rings of sustenance have gotten enough sleep. And then everybody else still needs a little bit. So, I'm going to just to save on time, so that you finish your rest, you're able to prepare spells as needed. As the morning sun rises, you notice that the closer that you get to the capital, the more it is near permanently overcast. What is your game plan? Are you...
Wait, overcast or like a magical darkness?
Overcast.
Like is it clouds? It's clouds.
It is dark
Okay.
clouds, but it appears to be natural.
Okay.
The way, like natural, or is there a way that we can tell if
Give me a
magic
knowledge
has been
nature
involved?
check.
Okay. Roll knowledge nature.
Don't apply his bonus
I
to it. We don't want Gabriel thinking that, people think that Gabriel's too good at knowledge nature. His enemies thinking that.
Yes. Let me get him up.
Like, I am saying this out loud to the party as well. Like, I'm wondering if there's magic behind this weather. Like, the weather looks natural, but maybe someone made it be that way.
It looks natural to you.
Yeah, it looks natural to me. But I have a sneaking suspicion.
No, you don't.
I
You
don't?
chose to roll. You no longer have a sneaking suspicion. You think that it looks
I used
natural.
to have a sneaking suspicion. Now I think that, no, it's just overcast here.
Alright, so how about this? I'll do a knowledge nature check, and then also I'm gonna take a 10 on it, because I can do that as a bard, apparently. I didn't know that till recently. I was reading through the bard stuff, and apparently I can take a 10 on knowledge stuff.
Okay, I'll give him guidance.
Okay.
So, should I roll it to do a 10? Just so you know the modifier?
You add... Tell me your modifier plus 10.
It's
so
14,
okay,
plus
so
10,
it's 24.
25.
25. Sorry, 1 second. I am responding to one of the party members who's asking a question behind the scenes.
I think it's Jasper because he's laughing.
All right. As you're kind of looking at this, you toss a glance towards Gabriel with a little bit of incredulity because of his naivety. Because what you're looking at, as you're feeling the, as you're getting the feel for the natural climate of the area, while the actual manifestation of the weather looks to be natural, based on the time of year and the way that weather patterns should be, where this is compared to the coastline, compared to the ocean and the mountains, this looks magically manipulated.
Okay.
So not magically created, but magically manipulated. It doesn't appear to be... Normally you'd see clouds like this, there'd be the darkness, and if it's as thick and potential for rain as it is, you would expect it to be moving to some extent. There would be, differential pressure that would cause wind and different things like that. But the clouds are pretty stagnant. They're not moving around, it's just overcast. You don't have roiling clouds, nothing that you would expect from the conditions that would create something like this naturally.
Okay. Well, looks like the vampires are manipulating the weather here because this is not natural.
This cave is not
I'll say that out loud.
manifestation.
Thank you, Cortana.
Oh boy.
Okay, so you still find yourselves probably a day's journey from the capital at the moment. Depending on the speed you're able to take, perhaps you could get there even by early evening. At least from what you can see. You can kind of make it out in the distance what appears to be the city. What do you do?
Well, I think we should move out.
I agree, we should move, wait, how close did you say we were to the city?
Best estimate, probably about a day, based on the location that you have on your map and what you can see.
Okay, are we walking on, an established trail?
You are actually not too far from the main road, probably about a mile or two south of it. You passed it on your way following the worm.
Okay, well, one option we could do is we could walk on the main road, I could put on the disguise, and if we get stopped by any of Pietro's men, I could say that you're prisoners. That is one option. Anyone have any ideas?
My one issue with that is that if you say that we're prisoners, then, what if they decide to infer a little further and look at all of us and wonder how you possibly could have overtaken all of us? What would you say in that situation?
Well, I am just a superior vampire who's better than everybody else and going to rule this land with an iron fist, right? I did approach an entire camp of people by myself with a couple of raids.
Well, I'm not questioning your credentials. I'm just making sure that you're prepared for this eventuality.
Well, I don't know what was going through Varzival's head, but it seemed like, based on the intel that they have, we seem to be a lot weaker than they think we are. No, wait, we're stronger than they think we are. There we go.
They think that we're like middling strength, but really,
yes,
we just suck.
But yes, it feels like they are consistently underestimating our power, kind of like a Jedi might.
What?
What is a Jedi?
In any case, I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be an issue. I honestly don't think it will be an issue because I don't think that we're as weak as they think we are. And
I
I think
I
do.
don't think so either.
and I suspect that they think that a single vampire with some middling undead could stop us. So that's encouraging, actually, and we should probably, as Nomad said earlier, maintain the guise of being weak.
Well, and I'm gonna like look over to Jasper, missing a leg, and Hestia missing an arm. I suppose it's not that hard to believe.
Yeah, we fit the bill, don't we?
Yeah, it seems like it, and we didn't exactly show our strength when we fought the worm. I mean, we didn't kill the worm head on. We kind of had to maneuver to kill it. So they did appear to have watched that battle to some extent, but I don't think that they could really get an idea of our strength from that. So, or if you just don't want to walk the main road, we can go and try and find a side entrance. Has anyone actually been to the capital and might know another way into it?
Charlemagne speaks up. It's been some time since I've been to the capital, but I have spent some time there while in the army. Perhaps there are some secret entrances that I am not aware of, but I can at least give you a good idea of where we are at, and perhaps with your understanding of cities, you might know where there would be an entrance, and I can take us towards that. But as for any specific entrances, I know only the public ones.
I could probably figure something out where secret entrance might be. Now, this is the capital of the Queen, so that would be, well, it's possible that depending on how many precautions were taken, there are secret entrances half a mile or a mile away. With an underground system, that could be the case.
Charlemagne
More
shrugs.
likely close up, but
Out of curiosity, out of character, was Charlemagne with us during the interrogation of Farzval?
I presume. I think I forgot to toss him onto the board, but yes, he would have been. Unless you had dismissed him.
Charlemagne, how do you feel about Pietro being the king? How long has the king been in power, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge,
Yes. I mean, presumably you would have
the only rightful ruler of Zelkir is the queen herself. And you can see... Go ahead and roll sense motive.
Okay.
Also want to roll sense motive.
Yeah, go ahead.
20, what is that?
Me too, please.
28. So, by the way, Prince, since you are using perform oratory for your sense motive, based on context, I'm going to say that you have to be in direct conversation with someone to be able to do that. If you're not actually speaking with them, you're not going to be able to use that in place of sense motive, because effectively what you're doing is you're manipulating the conversation to try and get them to expose how they feel and what they think beneath the surface. Okay. Does that make sense?
Sure, and I am talking to him right now.
You are. I'm just clarifying that if there's other situations that you're just like observing only, you'll have to use just sense motive on its own. That if you want to be able to use that perform oratory for that, you'll have to be engaged in some way verbally.
Okay.
Sound fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Just for story reasons. I know it doesn't. I don't think it specifies anything like that in the rules, but I just looking at it, since you're coming off of oratory, then that's kind of how I would interpret that.
Okay.
Okay, so Prince and Nomad, as you are watching him, you can see and sense a stern ferocity in what he says. You see in his eyes the conviction of a patriot. Speaking of treason. Speaking of blasphemy, you might even say. As he denies the existence of a king.
So he's denying the existence of a king, and he feels like he's...
There is only one ruler of Zelkir, and it is the queen herself.
And he feels like he's being blasphemous?
No.
Or I was being blasphemous?
No, so as you're kind of reading him, the very idea that someone other than the queen is on the throne is blasphemous.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all, like, while he's speaking of political matters, you would almost put the conviction that he has more on the sense of religious fervor.
So it's like someone saying that there's a king of America to like someone who's like a Navy SEAL.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's that sort of difference. It's like the how dare you even suggest. That is nope. There is the queen, and that is it.
So he was speaking.
Go ahead.
All right. So I'm getting the feeling that Varzavol was speaking euphemistically when he said that there was a king of the city. Does that sound about right?
About Pietro.
What do you mean, Nomad?
Sorry, go on.
No, what did you mean? He was just talking about Pietro.
Well, I assume that's what he means, is that Varzavol means.
Mm-hmm.
But, anyways, go on.
No. Okay. So...
As you're having this conversation, by the way, you can notice that Charlemagne has begun kind of fingering the pommel of his sword, and his offhand is kind of grasping the scabbard. So he's just sitting there, just the way that someone would if they're just ready for a fight.
Oh, touchy subject. Okay, well... I guess we should find the secret entrance then. I don't know what we do after getting a secret entrance, and I'm guessing the secret entrance would just be to the city and not to any sort of governmental building.
Oh no, you would in fact find a way into a governmental building, not necessarily the throne room, but you would find a way if there was any smart contingency plan developed. Most nobles who have a mind for emergency preparedness, they have some easy out, whether it's just a lord or the queen herself.
Right. I think the only place we could get into the city conspicuously from a secret, quote-unquote, entrance would be somewhat of a waterway or a sewage system.
That too.
That way we could appear not in a as suspect place as a secret entrance, as Jasper is saying.
Do you, where do you think they would be holding Malith? I assumed it would be in a governmental building after hearing Varzavol say that, that Pietro was the king. Again, I think that was probably just a euphemism, or maybe overestimating.
You see Jasper just like doing this with his hand, like it's just.
Okay. So.
Are we going, or are we going to sit here and talk? Asks Charlemagne.
We're just trying to figure out where to go. We're trying to figure out.
I think that a brisk walk will help the thoughts flow.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, let's
So
go with
that's what
let's go with the main plan with what Prince was saying earlier. I think that facade will do for now until we come up with a better idea, or we can just ride that out.
Okay. Well, we can walk towards the capital, and I don't know how. I mean, should we bind you guys in some way? That sounds a bit hazardous, maybe.
Vampires do have a capacity to charm and subdue
That's true,
without
but
binding.
I'm not sure a vampire could charm and subdue an entire party of people. Maybe.
No, you only need to
Inferior
subdue
being.
2. And yes, you are quite the best. I mean, you are second in command to the loathsome Pietro. So
Okay. Alright, well, I'll put on the disguise, the vampire's clothes, and we'll walk towards the capital on the main road.
You notice that Charlemagne is still very tense. The best that you can, like, the way that he is walking and looking around at things is like a dog that has just been kicked enough times, but rather than being afraid, it is just pissed and waiting for someone to get close enough for it to snap at them.
Okay. Charlemagne,
What?
I can sense that our conversation bothered you. Is there something in particular that we said, or in the way that we said it, that made, that might have upset you in some way?
You've said nothing.
Can I sense motive that?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I'll sense motive that too.
As you are studying him, you perceive that perhaps it wasn't something you said directly, but more something circumstantial.
Okay.
and then you hear Jasper shout to you, "Hey, Prince, I thought you and I were supposed to be working out the plan for how we're going to act this all out in case we get caught."
Well, it seems
He's a little
like
ahead of the group.
Jasper, it seems like this might not be the right charade for this particular occasion, just because we're assuming.
Well then you and I will come up with another plan. Get over here, come on. Since when have we had a one-on-one anyway?
Alright, well, I'm gonna walk towards Jasper.
I'm on a horse, by the way.
I'm on a horse.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, what was that, Parley? Or Nomad?
I will walk up to Charlemagne. Just going to say,
He
tell
glances
me
at you.
what's wrong.
Do you think she's still alive? It's been months, nearly a year since this all started. Could she be still alive?
Well, thinking about this from a logical perspective, I would think so. You can't just easily replace somebody like that. It would take a long, long time. Especially if she just suddenly disappeared and somebody were to take her throne. I mean, they would have to have overtaken the city by force at that point. That couldn't just be done silently in the shadows. What I would assume is that they have her under close watch, and they're forcing her to be a figurehead, while somebody else rules everything from the shadows.
Or maybe mind control.
That also is a possibility, but I would highly doubt they would be stupid enough to kill her. I don't mean to get your hopes up, but that's my assessment.
We can
I would
free her,
agree.
though. we can free her. That's
Most
why you're
certainly.
here, right? To free Zelkir, to free the Queen. To liberate
That's
us all.
right.
If the queen is under mind control or being possessed,
Wait
that
a
would
minute.
definitely-
Wait a minute. Aren't you with me right now?
Yes.
What?
Prince is with...
How far are you ahead?
I am
I mean-
like at least 30 feet
I
ahead
had
of
enough
the
to
group.
not be in, like,
Okay,
low
all right.
voice conversation.
Okay,
So
all right.
I'll
I
take
did
it
not
that
know
at
he
least
was
right
that far
now,
away.
Nomad and Hestia are kind of close by Charlemagne.
Okay.
Gabriel and Tiffany...
I should have
I'm not sure where
clarified
you
how
would
far
be.
ahead I went. I apologize.
But I will say to Charlemagne, yes, we are here to free this land, and if we can free the Queen, I would absolutely like to. But if I'm going to be honest, I don't like the look of you right now. You have the look of my soldiers right before they did something stupid. You're antsy, tense, agitated. And that's not going to lead to any logical thinking. I need you to promise us that you're going to be patient. You're going to think things through with us. We only have one shot at this, and we need to think it through. Understood?
You're right, Captain. I mean... Yes. Yes. And he takes a deep breath, and you can notice that while he still seems a little bit tense, he is calming down. Thank you.
Of course. Now let's be on our way.
He nods. Relaxes his grip on his scabbard and stretches his hands out for a second, and then resumes a brisk walk to join the rest of the group.
Okay, so are we going to, if the queen is still technically in power and being manipulated, then being on the main road, how long has this, incursion been going on? Because, I mean, it seems like the vampires are just running around Zelkir freely at the moment. It seems like they have control over the main areas that people would be. So if we were to come into contact with someone, it might be not an official... I don't know how, like, unofficial this rulership is I guess what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know if this ruse we're playing is actually the right one, because if we're on the main road and we come across, I don't know, some soldiers from the capital and
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to get attacked by soldiers if they see me dressed as a known vampire, is my thing.
And just to be just out of character, this is you just talking to Jasper.
Yeah. Or whoever. I'm talking, not trying to whisper anything, just talking
Oh
out
yeah,
loud.
just talking out loud.
Yeah.
No, no. I just need to know. if
I'm
that was
just
clear to me.
rethinking this because I don't want to come across some soldiers that think that we're not who we suppose we are, and let's say this one of the soldiers is compromised or something like that, and it's just, I don't know how compromised the city is right now, so I don't know exactly what ruse to pull. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, okay. I think there's one thing maybe we haven't made quite clear. Those of us who do know Pietro, well, I suppose Malith is not with us. Pietro likely did not have control over Zelkir until recently. When I met Pietro, Pietro was, albeit decently powerful, but a low-life, self-completed, like every vampire really, man whore.
Oh wow.
And he is probably just built upon his ego in the years since we last met. and this is now his great undertaking. Now that he has sufficient allies, so hopefully that helps you.
So walking into the
Understand.
city as a vampire is probably a bad idea.
Well, not necessarily. One step at a time. I need to pick your brain for something, if you're okay with changing subjects for a second. I've realized that maybe I've given you too cold of a shoulder, and I think that maybe it's time that we truly make each other's acquaintance.
Okay.
So let me see if I understand a bit of where you're coming from. Now you're a and this has to do with me picking your brain. I do need your insight, but let me just make sure I'm on the right page too. You're recently come from Pharasma in some way.
Yeah, something like that. I didn't come from Pharasma. I came from
Her
the
presence.
river. Yeah. I came from the Outer Plains. Or at least
No,
that's,
I imagine
that's what I think.
I imagine your visit with the Lady of Graves was not a hospitable one, correct?
Yes.
Now, I hope you don't take offense to me wearing this emblem. I wear it simply because I've worn it for a long time. I wouldn't consider myself a cleric or a devout follower, rather that Pharasma and I have shared some similar goals, and my family has served her for quite some time. I think it's kind of an expectation, especially for those who know me and are familiar with my work, that I work for the Church of Pharasma in some way. So, thus the symbol. Now, going back to you, I think that you mentioned before your noble heritage prior to your time in Pharasma's present. In the Boneyard is where I assume you were at, correct?
No. I was in the city where Pharasma's Tower is most prominent.
Hmm. Now,
That's at least where I originally found myself.
but you had mentioned that your memories have been absolved almost entirely, and that you have little glimpses into your past and who you are, and you were some kind of royalty here in Zelkir itself, right?
Yes, that is correct. At least that's what I can piece together of my past. I'm not quite entirely sure, and after I arrived in the Outer Plains, my past, although of some relevancy, was not as the top priority on my mind, if that makes any sense.
All right, so let me pick your brain. This is where I need your wisdom, your insight. Now, you play an instrument, right?
Several.
Well, there we go.
How
is your
summary, Prince, of what instruments you've played thus far, and kind of the sort of performances that you've had so far? Because you use your performance kind of impacts just about everything that you do. But can you give us a quick summary? Because I guess we don't always play that out. What instruments and styles you've used so far?
Oh yeah, I'd love to hear that.
Well, I am well versed in string instruments of most types, but I prefer guitars and violins and fiddles. I can sing, and obviously I can dance very well. That is probably my prime expertise is dancing. And if you consider a moving speech to be musical, I can do that as well.
I think that's fair. Now, now tell me your experience with with playing music. Have you developed the ability to hear something and just kind of know where your fingers are supposed to be if you want to recreate that music with your own hands?
Yes, I think I can do that. In fact,
Right.
I mean, in the Outer Planes, music is abundant, so I've had to learn to do this to, you know, be a proper musician. I didn't have proper training in the Outer Planes. It was all, I guess, me in the presence of my god.
Right. You don't have to talk about your god right now.
Oh no, I wasn't. I was just saying how I learned to play music.
No, that's quite nice. So anyway, think about this. Like, you imagine you were to lose your memory, would you still know how to play an instrument?
Most definitely. In
Yes.
fact, well, go ahead.
Well, okay, so I think you and I agree on that point. Some people have had amnesia, yet they're still able to play like the maestro that they are. There's something in them outside of just what we normally call memory that is retained despite memory loss. These can be like muscle memory for an instrument. This can be what you...
yeah, out of character, that happened in the Notebook, right?
Sometimes even biographical information. Not everyone is forgetting their name. That would be rare, I think. But certain personality, or nearly all personality characteristics, I should say, kind of conversational muscle memory, if you will, is retained despite the memory loss. They're still the same person. They just lack certain pieces of memory in terms of history, timeline. But they are themselves, right?
Yes. So, what are you getting at?
So, would a prince with a sudden memory loss retain the conversational quirks or inclinations of a prince? Someone who has been strictly trained in their upbringing, very strict upbringing, to be princely, and to be kind of a mix of maybe a bit self-righteous and entitled, but also a diplomat, if you will. I mean, if I may say, I think depending on the situation, a prince is someone who can be very diplomatic. Like they could tell you to go to hell in such a way that you actually look forward to the trip. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I did spend some time in the Outer Planes, though, so there is a lot of maybe quirks that I've picked up outside of being a prince, but it's no telling where I'm pulling things from, honestly.
I think the thing that I want to know is, do you feel that the curiosity that you exhibit, because I get the impression, and tell me if you disagree, but I get the impression that you are someone who is very curious. And in your curiosity, you have a lot of questions, and that makes sense. You ask a lot of things, and you speak your mind. If there is something that you think you want to say it, dig in a bit more, inquire, right?
Yes.
I think that if you were perhaps a prince in a previous life, you would subconsciously recall the angry and traumatizing levels of patriotism that kingsmen and queensmen can really embody at times.
Yes, absolutely, but there is a certain nobility to the princely class that they can be noble in other ways. But yes, I agree.
I think that Charlemagne there is a ticking time bomb. Now, I've had my reservations about him. I'm not sure why he's here. I doubt it's entirely because of the goodness of his heart. I think that he is perhaps meant to keep eyes on something, maybe he has motives that he's not made us aware of, and, well, Bellevant maybe wants a full report, and I'm not sure what exactly is going on there. Ulterior motives is what I'm trying to say, right?
So you suspect that he's a spy of some sort?
Oh, I think that it would be reasonable for Bellevant to do such a thing. I don't blame him for wanting to do that. I just hope that he doesn't get in the way. Now, that's the point. That's the point I'm trying to get to. I think that the conversation you had with Charlemagne maybe touched on some subjects, used some words that I'm not saying he was directly mad at you, but it awoke something in him that we should try to avoid awakening in anybody. I want to make sure that all of us are fulfilling this mission as best as we can. If one of us suddenly loses the capacity to fulfill the mission, they become an endangerment to everyone and everything. I want to make sure that you're in the right mind. I want to make sure that he's in the right mind. And I'm sure as heck trying to keep myself in my own right mind.
So you think that he was upset with me in particular?
No, I'm not saying he was upset with you in particular. I'm saying that you upset him, I think. I think you awoke something in him. You touched on that patriotic part of him that is quite sensitive and could lead him to snap. And
well, honestly, if that is the case, he may not be a good candidate to be on this mission altogether, because if we are going to come in contact with the Queen and she is under some sort of spell or ruse, it is not going to benefit us for someone to fly off the handle, or at least not hold their cool in front of maybe someone who might be manipulating her.
Well, then we will subdue him as necessary, kill him if we have to. But I doubt it'll come to that. But
I don't think we should harm him. I have other methods of keeping someone from doing things that I would not. I don't like to take away someone's will, but if they are going to cause greater harm, especially since Malith is in captivity, especially since Pietro has had a long time to be in this city and dig his tendrils into it, there's no telling how much sway he has over the capital. And if we go in there and, we're holding our hilts like we're going to fight, and someone sees this and doesn't play along, we're likely to have a lot of issues. So if you think that this is the case, maybe I should magically convince him to not be so patriotic, or I might even be able to. Maybe we should send him back to Bellevant. I mean, he is a good fighter, but he did not seem to help us at all in the last fight. And on top of that, go ahead.
Are you talking about the worm fight or the other fight?
I'm talking about the other fight. Both fights, honestly. In the worm fight, he just got trampled.
He just got trampled. In the other fight, that was my bad. He would have participated. Had
Yeah,
I
canonically,
remembered
he
that was there.
participated,
Canonically,
he
he
helped.
participated.
The worm fight
was
was
just
not
bad.
his fault, and also he gave me the wedge, so he was significantly useful in the work.
Okay. I
Yeah.
We can redact that statement if you want to.
Not to change what you're saying, as I don't technically, I'm not going to take a stance on any point of that, but just for clarity, canonically he did participate in the campfire fight.
Okay. The point is,
Sorry, go ahead.
he's probably a good fighter, but in the upcoming battles, there will likely be a need for a strong will. And it seems he has shown that his will is weak to some extent. And looking at his disposition, if someone were to try to control his mind, as our minds have been controlled previously, I can only do so much. So, if you think that he was so quick to fly off the handle because of patriotism, and we are walking into a situation where, the Queen most certainly might be under some effect, we cannot afford someone to be as blatant as he was about to be. Do you agree?
I don't know, you're looking at the person who persuaded the rest of the party to bring Tiffany along, so either I'm a fool or I'm just...
What's wrong with
desperate
Tiffany?
for
She's
help.
quite beautiful. Jasper, what's wrong with Tiffany?
Just the potential for her to be on the wrong side and mess things up.
Well, rogues are very good. She seems to be the roguish type, and rogues are typically very good at adapting to appearances. And she was good enough to adapt to an appearance to get into our party. So I think that she's probably good enough to do some sort of espionage. Now, as far as Charlemagne, I don't think he's the espionage type.
No, he's just the loyal type. I think
Yes, and that is a problem. That is a serious problem.
Well, the one benefit that could be there is that if his will is strong enough, boosted by his sense of duty to Queen and country, that may help prevent a vampire from overcoming his will.
I like
There
the
is
way
that.
you worded that. And maybe we should tell him that directly, not just to prevent a vampire from controlling him, but to stop his own emotions from controlling him.
Maybe, but I'm not really the
Loquacious.
I'm not really the conversationalist. In all honesty, I think I've drained myself just trying to figure out how to word things diplomatically.
Let me...
Yeah, I mean...
Who else is hearing the conversation between me and Jasper? I need some input out of character. If anyone's...
Hestia's the motherly type. I don't know. I think it'd be wise to recruit her to do that.
Erica had to step away for a moment, but...
Oh, jeez.
May I step in?
Sure. You can step in. He already seems to have a problem with me talking about nobility. And
Jasper gives Prince like the lightest downward nod and just veers away with his horse.
So,
he is flying solo right now.
He fears for the Queen's life, as well he should, as I do as well.
yes, but if we walk into this situation and the Queen is compromised, we do not need someone to run up to the Queen or pull out their sword or sneer or anything like that.
Charlemagne seems a seasoned soldier to me. What would you suggest that we do? I personally don't believe he's like to fly off the handle at any moment.
If you think that you can keep him from giving away any sort of, I don't know. If you think you can keep your soldier in line, then I am fine just continuing. I was just listening to what Jasper was telling me.
I would rather see him as a peer rather than a subordinate.
Well, he did call you captain. I didn't hear that, actually. I'm sorry. I didn't hear that. But it seems as though he looks up to you.
I talked to him. I think for the moment, he will be fine.
Okay.
Was there any other concerns you had about him exactly, or?
Jasper had two concerns. Jasper's concerns were that he may be at least reporting to his former master, who I am not that acquainted with. You have far more experience with his who he reports to. And I don't know if that's going to be a problem. And I don't know how much in contact he might be with him. So, and then the second thing is that I tend to be an arrogant prince. So, you know, and I am sort of impersonating or plan to impersonate the subordinate of someone he finds to be treasonous. So, or at least the very idea of it is being treasonous. So, those are the concerns.
Well, he gave me his word that he would think things through. And until he gives me a reason to doubt him, I'm going to take him at that word.
And you will be the first to subdue him otherwise.
I'm sorry, subdue him?
If. I mean, he was about to pull out his sword at the mere mention that the Queen may not be running the show anymore.
He wasn't about to pull out his sword and start swinging at ghosts. I've seen that look 100 times before. And if I sent my men away every single time they had a look on their face that looked like his, well, then I'd be commanding no men. Or sorry, I should say, I would have never commanded any men. It's easy to send away a problem, but that doesn't really help the larger problem at hand. I think that we can trust him for the time being, and that we should have faith in him until he shows us otherwise.
Okay, well...
I think we need all the help we can get at this moment, but I do agree that yes, he did exhibit some cause for concern with his attitude, but he seems to have calmed down for now, and I think we can count on a level head, at least for the next time being.
Okay, well, if he shows some signs of not being on board, would you be against me using some magical means not to do any harm to him, but to temporarily make him more amenable?
If it was a dire moment, and there's nothing you or I could do or say besides magic, then sure. I suppose as a last resort, we could do that. But I would certainly prefer that that is not our first option.
Okay. Alright, well, let's continue then.
Very well. Anything you need to say, Jasper, regarding this?
Jasper's not even nearby.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were just like looking away like, oh, whatever. Okay.
No, Jasper was not part of any of that.
Well, then I will go up and ask him if he has any concerns.
Oh, hi there. Concerns about Charlemagne or Prince?
That's right. Charlemagne.
Oh, Charlemagne. No, I think it's what I've mentioned to you before. The potential ulterior motives of Bellavant. I'm not sure how much that would get in the way of the mission. No, my
my conversation with Prince was, I was trying to be very diplomatic about how, if he was once a prince, like how he believes he is, then maybe that kind of intuitive upbringing, that princely nature would kind of help him understand that such things that he said would, likely rouse the anger or trauma or bad memories of a patriot who's lost his queen or fears he's lost his queen. I thought that Prince was going to go to you or Hestia and find and offer something, some words to Charlemagne that would actually maybe encourage him, help him feel like he has something valuable to contribute in this fight. I mentioned that his strong will and his great sense of honor and patriotism may actually prove useful in preventing a vampire from overpowering his will with their will. I get the feeling that wasn't the conversation you had with Prince, now was it?
It isn't. And if I'm going to be honest, sending him away is the last thing that he needs. He's absolutely liable to do something stupid if we send him away. Denying him the opportunity to fix the problem that he is so intent, so zealously focused on, is only going to make a greater issue.
I think I'm
at least
with
here he
you
can
on
work
that.
with us. He can think of a plan with us. He can help us, rather than him trying to go off on his own or do something by himself, where he will certainly be less successful.
No,
I know this
I
because
think I agree.
I think if I was put in his position and I was sent away, that's exactly what I would do.
For me, my primary concern is to see the mission through to the end. If he were to have a moment where he becomes a danger to himself, he'll likely also be a danger to us and to the mission. It's in a moment like that I feel like the careful thing to do would be to act quickly in preventing him from causing harm. That may require some form of charm or subduing him, something, but that would not be out of anger on our part. That would be just out of pragmatism. We need to make sure that we don't lose our lives and that we can... I mean, if we can't redeem this God's forsaken land, we could at least avenge it.
Sure.
And I don't want anybody in the party getting in the way of that. Sorry, you're silent. What are you saying?
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. So
Oh, sorry.
No, that's
My bad.
But no, I do see what you're saying. And as I was saying to Prince, while I do think that, yes, there is some cause for concern with his attitude, I don't think that he's a greenhorn soldier. He seems like he's seen his fair share of conflict. So the likelihood of him flying off the handle, I believe, is low. Obviously, we'll still keep an eye on him. It can't hurt to be too careful. But I don't think the risk is that great for the time being. I may change my mind later, but I don't believe him to be unstable.
You are talking to the man who tried to persuade us to bring along Tiffany. If I'm willing to have her along despite the risk, I'm willing to have him along despite the risk. I'm just of the attitude to act in the moment should something dire arise, but I don't think that will happen along the way. I'm just prepared to act on it if it does happen at the capital.
As am I, with any of you. If worse comes to worse, like we had to subdue Prince earlier when fighting the worm, yes, I am willing to do what it takes. But only if that is our last case scenario.
I've talked too much today, but speaking of subduing Prince, there is something I should mention to you later, but I've drained my social battery, so if you'll let me share that information some other time.
Of course, Jasper. I appreciate you being willing to talk to me.
And Jasper gives a nod and just kind of goes away from the group on his horse again.
There is one thing I would like to talk to Tiffany about, if she is open to speaking with Nomad.
However,
Sure,
before
what's
you
up?
do have that conversation, I want to interject for just a moment. So as you're making your way towards the capital, that's when all of this conversation is happening. You notice in front of you, between you and the capital, as you're kind of getting close, there appears to be a state of darkness more in the air as you get closer to the capital, and after not too long, you realize that it is a near constant sheet of rain.
Like the rain is on top of us, or is
Like
there
a
a sheet of rain in front of
downpour?
us?
As you approach the capital, okay, yes, it does appear to be a heavy downpour. Would you go through it, or what would you do when you kind of reach it? Because you can kind of tell the line where it stops. Which, actually, go ahead and give me another knowledge nature check, Prince.
I'll take another 10 on it.
Sure.
Then it's a
So,
27. No,
as,
wait.
as you
20.
approach, just like how the clouds themselves seem to be stationary, this wall of rain also seems to be stationary. In fact, so much so that you can pretty much see where it stops visibly as you approach it. It doesn't appear to be moving. There's no wind pushing the clouds this way or that. There's simply a wall of rain coming from these clouds.
I feel like that would be suspicious to everyone. Regardless of
This
what knowledge
is why
they
I
have.
brought it up. What you're able to get, though, is at this point it is beyond guaranteed to you that the weather is being manipulated, at least in this area.
Okay. Can I do like this seems magical. Can I do like a detect magic or something, or a knowledge arcana?
Yes, actually, I need to check something really quick.
Sorry, did you say how heavy was the rainfall?
Heavy enough to at least obstruct vision somewhat.
Okay.
So I'm gonna guess that this was not prepared for us in particular. It could have been, because it seems like they did kidnap Malif recently, and I guess they would expect us to come in. So I guess my thoughts were, if this is something constant, then that is very grim and dreary. But if this is something in preparation for our coming, then it may have some intent behind it besides just being obviously rain. What do you think, Nomad?
It's hard to say, to be honest.
Okay.
I will have
I
a
mean,
little bit more
I don't-
information for you guys in a little bit, but for now, that's as much as I'm going to give you. So go ahead and discuss. But you're at the wall of rain, still unmoving.
Okay. We're walking into a wall of rain if there's some intent behind it.
Detect
I'm
no
afraid.
magical auras from the rain itself.
So should we just continue into it?
Well, I'm afraid that we're walking into a trap just for the city. I mean, you bring up a good point. If it is something for us, I mean, maybe they're just waiting to grab all of us. If they know about all of us.
Maybe
Like
we
you
should,
said.
Jasper was saying something about an underground tunnel. That would get us out of the rain and out of any sort of trap. I'm going to motion Jasper to come over, and Charlemagne both to come over. And, are you guys here? Jasper?
Yes. Sorry, I
Okay.
forgot I was on mute.
Jasper and Charlemagne, Charlemagne, you seem to have some knowledge of how we could get into the city or maybe into a public building that would not only get us out of this downpour that seems to be in front of us, but also allow us to sneak into the city and possibly into maybe like the palace or
Charlemagne's eyes climb, or his eyebrows climb wider and wider, or higher and higher the more that you talk.
well, you
I think Charlemagne made it clear that he knows the public entrances like any seasoned citizen. He was asking if we would have any idea of where secret entrances might be to avoid suspicion.
So, real quick, just to kind of clarify what he had said, because I may not have been more clear, but he would have been. What his intent there was actually, I'll say this in character. Actually, what I meant was not that I know the locations of any secret entrances, but I can at least point out where the aqueducts in the city are located, and from there, if you know where those might spill out, then perhaps you could deduce where the secret entrance might be. But other than the basic knowledge of the city, I'm no architect, I am no spy that would know such secret entrances, and especially not into the palace.
Okay.
I think the
Well-
aqueducts are a good idea that we should at least
It is raining,
walk
though,
away to
Nomad.
consider.
The
All the more
aqueducts
reason
are
they
going to
wouldn't
be
expect
flooded.
us.
That's true, but it will also be an extraordinarily tactical disadvantage, especially since the water will be flowing out of the city and we will be walking in.
Yes, I agree. Just something to consider is all.
I think.
And you
I
guys
don't
are
think
still
we-
outside of the rain, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll stick my hand into the rain and see what's going on with that.
It is absolutely the most watery rain that you've ever felt. Like, without a doubt, this stuff is...
That sentence.
This is
It's like that
dihydrogen
heavy
monoxide.
water stuff.
Yeah, this is like... You're talking... Actually, let me...
Roll
let
a
me
nat 10, nat 20 on its wateriness.
Nat 20, 1 second.
I feel like I need to post this on Facebook.
I mean, the thing
This
is
is the most
this
watery
water
rain you've
is
ever
so
experienced.
watery that you would wager it has about a density of 1,000 kilograms per meters cubed, and it's definitely a very even mix of 2 hydrogen molecules and 1 oxygen molecule.
Thank you for
No,
saying
man.
it's very watery.
He's got 8 intelligence, but he knows like the chemical breakdown to the very atoms of the rain. All right.
This is about as normal as water gets. There's nothing about it that this isn't acid rain, this is nothing special, this is just rain.
Okay. Well, I'm going to keep my hand in there for a few minutes while we talk.
Yep.
Just to be
Hey,
sure.
Your
Nomad,
arm
this-
is becoming painfully
No, just my hand.
Your hand is becoming painfully soaking wet.
Well,
Like,
so
I-
water-
your
feel
gloves are
actual
just going to
pain.
be no. Well, like I mean, you know how when your glove gets soaked,
No,
it just kind of
my
like
glove on.
grips.
I'm touching this
weird.
with my bare hands.
Well, don't put your glove on afterwards because it's just gonna kind of like grip weird. Like you got to dry your hand before you put the glove on. That's the ultimate result of this rain. Is
Okay,
it's-
I have a
your
lot
hand
of
is wet.
wisdom. Don't worry. Nomad knows not to put his glove back on immediately.
Okay, good. Then you should be fine.
Should be. Okay.
Should be.
Avoid the rain at all costs.
Nomad, is there anything
Oh, by the way, can I have a fortitude save? No, I'm just kidding.
is there anything strange about the rain at all?
that it's a stationary rain and there's no wind and it seems to be completely consistent. So
I
you
sh-
asked me
Oh,
on
yeah,
that.
that as
I should
well.
clarify.
Just like Prince said, it is like perfectly consistent. Like normally, rain has a bit more variation. That's largely because of stuff like wind. But this is just consistent flow rate everywhere.
I think I meant to say, is there any new information from Nomad's current physical interaction with the rain?
Nothing.
Well, then you know what this is.
Mundane, if out of place.
this is likely the work of our very artistic friend, the necromancer Alexander Colon.
Real
What would he
quick-
want with rain?
Oh, I'll let you guys finish, and then I'll answer a question that Prince asked that I realized that I missed.
What is a recreational piece of art without attention to detail? He's likely recreated something that has to do with a rainy event that occurred.
Wouldn't that
Hearing
cause
that,
problems in the city?
So real quick, I'm going to step in for a moment. Before, Prince, you had made a knowledge arcana check.
Yes.
Did you roll that, or were you just taking 10?
I took a 10.
I don't... Are you able to take 10 as a bard on knowledge checks?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. It is. I can tell you what the specific thing is.
Okay.
It is.
I'll take it.
Okay.
So you know that there is a spell, Control Weather. It is a 7th level spell. Not a spell that a 7th level caster would use, but a 7th level spell.
So it's very high up.
It is very high up. It is a very powerful spell. It is a very strong spell. And, yeah. And so that's your best guess, with your knowledge of magic, what this probably is the result of.
Is that dispellable?
Yes and no. It is,
Good
but
probably break
the,
enchantment, probably.
the locus would be at a much different location than this. I mean, the radius of the effect is measured in miles.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it seems that this weather is supernatural, and a very powerful spellcaster would have to be involved to do it, which does not bode well for us, because a spellcaster that powerful is way beyond us, I imagine.
DM, is the rain over the city, or is it just in an area in front of the city?
From your perspective, it seems to go all the way around the city.
Yeah, because we're at the border of it. So, and if we're at the border of the city, come across the city, then
You're not at the border of the city. You're at the border of the rain.
yeah.
The city, and it's a little bit harder to see the city through the rain, especially as you get close. But you're probably still several miles away from the city at this point.
Well, I guess I didn't look closely enough. I can see now that this probably goes over the city and more. I thought it was
The
optical
spell
illusion, I suppose.
itself is 2 miles long, from what I can gather.
You should
Or
not,
would I know
you
that
should-
specifically?
You would not.
Okay.
I'll let you know the spell, but don't look it up because your character would not have that information.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you the
Sorry.
information that your character would know, especially with just a 24. You would know
Okay.
that the spell exists and about how high of a level it is.
Okay.
You would need a decently higher check to know details about the spell, other than it can be miles. But even then, and here's just a note: is that the spell description as written is the general effect of that spell. And there might be circumstances or something that causes the spell not to follow the book, because the book does not hold sway in the universe. It is an approximation of what is probably typical.
So,
If that makes sense.
and I guess, I think the Aqueducts is probably a good bet, because I think that this was probably prepared for us. I can't imagine them maintaining an effect like this for weeks and weeks, maybe, but it doesn't want it to constantly rain. And since Malith was just abducted, I'm thinking that maybe this is in preparation for us. So I imagine it's to allow vampires to be able to be outside. So maybe we shouldn't let ourselves be outside. Does that make sense? No.
We do this so that they can decide. So, I mean, if you're going to pretend like you're one and you're taking us in, I think that would work as another
Yes.
entrance strategy.
It could. I just worry about pulling off something like this, especially with... Yeah. Okay. Well, just tell me what you'd like to do.
Sorry, can you say that again? Everything was cutting out for me.
Oh, just tell me what you would like to do.
Why don't we
Do you
consult?
just walk into the city, or do you want to go through the aqueducts? Because we're probably going to have to decide soon. Or look for aqueducts.
Well, Tiffany, have you by chance snuck into some noble official's premises at any point in your career?
Do I need to roll for that, Tucker?
Yeah, go ahead and roll a knowledge, or I guess I'll roll for you a knowledge nobility. What was the specific question?
Snuck into like a noble person's place.
You have not.
Okay. Sorry, I have snuck into a lot of places, but nowhere quite that important. I mean, how different could it be, though?
Well, I think it's more about the nobleman's mindset, or the noblewoman in this case, or whoever came before who may have established these secret passageways. But I'm sure that you found a secret passageway before, right?
Tiger could also assume the answer is yes to that.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Well,
that's easily within the realm of your experience. So
Yeah, I figured it would be.
Speaking of realm of experience, I was maybe a prince in a previous life in Zelkir. Is there a way I can do a knowledge or intelligence check to maybe see if I remember any secret passages or anything like that?
After Prince says that, Jasper just rushes into the ring.
That was out of character. I'm asking Taggart.
okay, so Jasper rushes into the rain. Prince, that is going to be a straight D20 check. Your skills and your intelligence will play no part in this roll. So, I'm going to say...
I'm sorry, why is he just jumping into the rain?
Okay, do you want to which do we want to handle first? Jasper or Prince?
Prince.
Okay. So Jasper jumps into the rain and time pauses for a moment for him. And Prince, go ahead and roll a d20.
I did.
You did. You center yourself for a moment, and you are trying to call forward memory of your previous life. And as you do so, for a flash, you feel almost at home right now in this area. You feel a tickling that there's a level of familiarity that you do not yet appreciate, but you find yourself unable to grasp any specifics.
Yeah. Okay. All right, well, let's chase after Jasper then.
Jasper rushes into the rain.
All right, well, let's follow.
What happened to Jasper? What's going on with him?
He's just galloping away through the rain.
Yeah, galloped into the rain.
Yes. I guess we're following him into the city.
If
Or
you
towards
want.
the city.
Okay, very slowly, Mr. Horse. none of us are gonna. He's gonna like get there way before us, like minutes before us.
Yes, that's true. Should I try and stop him? How far is he away from us so far?
I mean, he's at this point he's probably like 20 or 30 feet through, and by the time that you guys like fully register what he just did, or actually, yeah, or at least he's had time to go through that.
Yeah, all that talk about thinking things through rationally, problems with Charlemagne, and he just goes in immediately.
He could be under mind control. That has happened to us previously, but I don't know if someone's watching us, and I think they'd have to be rather close for that. But I don't know. I guess we should follow him. I guess we don't have a choice.
Let's get a move on.
You begin walking through the rain, and after probably about 10 feet, you emerge on the other side of the rain.
There's, like, the rain, it's just...
Yup.
Okay.
Now
That's even weirder.
you're welcome.
Yep. You find, I would presume, Jasper, that you pretty much stopped as soon as it got dry.
Yeah.
Yep. It is noticeably darker on this side of the rain. You look up and the rain is coming from the clouds, and at least and now you can see the city pretty clearly. There's no rain in between you and the city. The entire sky above the city going out, and at this point you can kind of make out where the rain is at other parts around the city. The city is completely encircled by this ring of rain and topped by the dark clouds. And even now, as the sun is like... Actually, no, the sun is high enough that it is just above the clouds, and so it's not getting in. But you can tell with the thickness of the rain that it would obstruct a good deal of light coming in, even at sunrise and at sunset, when the sun would be at the perfect angle to get past the clouds.
Alright. Well, it doesn't seem like the rain's going to be an issue, so I think the Aqueduct is probably our best bet if we're going in to rescue Malith. I think trying to pretend like you guys are prisoners might not be the best strategy for finding Malith and rescuing him.
I agree.
Okay.
Let's try to find the aqueducts.
Yes, so we're going Charlemagne, can you... I'm going to walk up to Charlemagne. Mm-hmm. Charlemagne, could you... I'm going to pull out a small piece of paper and, like, writing device. I might even use prestidigitation to make a crude version. And I'm going to ask him to sort of do, like, a crude drawing. Well, actually, I'll just ask him. Charlemagne, would you mind on this piece of paper doing a crude drawing of the city and where the aqueducts might pour out? Because that's something you said that you were able to do.
He looks at the drawing for a moment, and he points to a couple places on the east side of the city, the side closer to you, and he says, I know that there are some drains in these locations.
Are they big enough to traverse?
Likely. I don't know where they spill out, but I know that that's where at least within the city, where entrances to the aqueducts would likely be.
Okay, well, I would suggest that we use these aqueducts to get into the city.
Go ahead and make a... Oh gosh, what the... What's the word? Go ahead and make a knowledge engineering check. Yes, thank you.
Okay, I will do that. I'm not going to take a 10 because that's boring. Oh gosh!
Great. That's what we're talking about.
One second.
Should have taken a 10.
As you're looking at his diagram, you're really not sure, based on that, where the aqueducts might spill out. Perhaps someone not quite as stupid as you would, but I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, you're not really sure where. You haven't ever planned a city before, to your knowledge, so you can't tell where would be the intelligent thing, and as you think about it, it occurs to you that you're not really sure about the elevation of everything in the area, and so that also is something you're just like, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Well,
Worst case, we can just go
Turn back.
just a ring around the city.
yeah. Okay, well, let's go find these aqueducts then.
All right. Let's have somebody designated as the searcher.
I am terrible at searching. Someone else is going to have to do that.
Is that perception or?
Is that perception?
Someone give me
I can do
a
that.
perception check. Someone be the designated
I'll give whoever
perception.
does it. I'll give guidance.
If I may, DM, I would like to use a bit of knowledge nobility in order to like support in finding a secret entrance.
Okay. Malith, can you go ahead and are you
Tiffany?
who's or not Malith? Yeah, Tiffany. Sorry. Who so Tiffany is the designated searcher. Is everyone else assisting, or what is the
You can assist.
I'll assist and I'll give her guidance.
Okay. So
I would like to
roll-
assist
and then
if I
Tiffany
can in
go
a
ahead.
knowledge nobility way.
Yes.
Did it go?
So should I go ahead and roll, or
Yep. Go ahead and roll.
Damn.
Boom, baby.
That was a knowledge nobility?
Yeah.
oh, I didn't mean for it to be. Oh, okay, no, that was not me.
Yeah. What was that knowledge nobility for, Jasper?
Oh, I thought you'd say yes to me. I had asked if in my assisting if I could use knowledge nobility, just kind of
Oh.
like the mindset of nobility in what would be the most reasonable place for them to perhaps sneak through.
I'll allow it.
Okay.
Well, at least I still gave guidance.
Okay. All right. Tiffany, go ahead and give your roll.
Already did. It was 22.
I'm not saying anything.
Oh, okay.
I don't see your roll on the thing. But go ahead.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. Okay. So with a 22 plus all the
It'd be a
bonuses,
25.
given the
Wait, no, never mind. I guess the roll didn't go through. That was a roll of Hestia's. I mistakenly thought it was
okay.
mine. Sorry.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
We'll do it again. I guess it didn't go through. I thought it did. Oh, 17. Ouch.
Okay, so plus 2 from Prince, plus 2 from Hestia, plus 1 from Nomad, and then Jasper for circumstances, I'm giving yours a plus 5. That is going to be enough. You, between the lot of you, as you're kind of looking around, you're able to find what appears to be an entrance to an aqueduct. It's pretty well disguised, but really between the lot of you, you're able to find an aqueduct large enough for all of you to get in, one at a time, one abreast. But
Okay. That might not be great. I think Nomad should go first.
You got it.
any way you want.
Okay.
Gonna guidance myself before I step in.
I'm guessing it's gonna be dark. Do you have dark vision, Nomad?
No, but I'll be fine. Trust
Okay,
me.
do you have any objects, like, in your person that are innocuous that you might just have on hand?
Trust me. I'll be fine.
I was just going to cast light on the object for you, so you...
Yes, but that could reveal us, Prince. Don't look.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
trying to be rude or anything like that. I appreciate it,
Okay. Okay.
but this
Well-
isn't my first time going through an act. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So marching order. Let's just put that in the chat. In the in-character chat, that will be the thing. So just everyone just type first, second, third like that.
Okay, well, nomads first.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yep. Okay, yeah. The order that people respond is the order that people are going.
Hurry, get your slots in
And
now.
then Gabriel is going to be...
After
probably-
nomad.
Yeah, after Nomad. Jasper and Tiffany are just like, I'm ready, but I'm not saying yet. Okay.
So am I like on, like, am I like crawling? Is it that like thin?
No, not crawling. You do have to kind of duck down.
Okay. I'm gonna pull out my whip.
Yep. Alright, and then, Hestia, I presume you're next?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're good, Tiffany. You jumped on third too fast.
I did.
Cameron's playing Pillars of Eternity. It's a great game.
Yeah, it's
Lame.
the combat of those games is too much for me, but I loved the story and the interactions and consequences. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's Obsidian for you, man.
Isn't the developers from that game from that place that's close to Australia? What is that place called? That small island off of Australia that handled COVID pretty well.
What?
Anyways, I can't
I thought
remember.
Obsidian was American.
I thought that Pillars of Eternity was developed. What is that island? Fuck. Sorry. This is gonna bother me.
Do you mean
New Zealand?
New Zealand, thank you!
Oh,
Thank
Australia.
I
Yeah.
thought you were just being like,
That's me too.
I thought you were just playing with us. And never mind. Yeah, I've had some brain farts today too, so I shouldn't. I couldn't remember thyroid gland earlier today.
Yeah, thyroid gland. That's a very common one. Can't believe you couldn't remember that. Okay, so you begin making your way through the aqueduct. There is a small amount of water coming through it. By the smell, probably sewage, but not as much as you would expect from a city of this size. As you make your way through, it's probably about 2 miles before you actually get to the city. And it's not necessarily noticeable to you at first, but eventually the area starts to widen out a little bit, and you're able to walk at least all the way upright. And eventually you can see light ahead of you, though it is pretty faint light.
Okay. I'm just gonna prestidigitation and make the water smell like garlic, just in case.
The scent is washed away almost immediately in the flow.
Oh, well, I can do it every round, and I can do it at will. So can't I
you're
just
able to maintain
continuously?
like a tiny section of water, because the thing is, you're able to do it every round, but it's like it's kind of like if you're dipping food coloring into a small stream.
Okay, never mind. Tried. All right. Well, anyone want to do something before we jump out of this hole that we don't know where it's going? No.
Hestia, can you? Well, okay, so we're at an exit.
Yes.
You are very close to an exit. You're close enough that you can get to the exit in just a short amount of time.
Is it a door or is it like a manhole cover?
There is a grate, though. Yeah, there is a grate. So you might have to break your way through or do something, but there is a grate with, yeah. So either you can try and fit your way through it or open it up in some way. Let me give a better description than that. So the aqueduct opens
like,
up.
is it above me or
Sorry,
what?
I'm going to give a description. I realized that was really a crappy description. So as you walk forward, the area opens up enough that you can at least have 2 people abreast. And you can see in front of you probably about 20 or 30 feet where it opens up to light a little bit more. But in front of you is a gate with thick steel bars that are about 1 inch in diameter and spaced apart by about 5 or 6 inches between the bars. So
There's no like exit that's already built into it.
no, this is not
Okay.
meant to be an access point.
Okay, and
So
there's
5
no
or 6
other way.
inches is too wide. 3 to 4 inches.
And there's no other way we can go. How do people do maintenance on this section of the city?
That is a very modern question.
Well, they might just come in the same way that we do.
Oh, that's true. They could just come around and then go back out around.
Yeah, not a very glorious job. I would ask Hestia, though. Hestia, can your owl scout ahead, tell us anything, see if anyone's keeping watch at the other end of this tunnel? Just, want to make sure that we're
Hestia
unmolested.
has an owl?
I believe so.
How did I miss this?
He's
Is
mentioned
Erica
the
here?
owl several times.
Yes, I do have an L.
Okay.
He's
Beautiful and
mentioned
snowy white.
many times.
Yep,
Okay.
and it can scout ahead. What do you want it to be looking for in specific?
Just if there's any people out there, anyone standing watch.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure how your owl communicates with you, but
Well, I
Yeah.
could even switch places with it. If you guys want.
okay, just be careful not to get trapped on the other side.
I'll be
It-
fine.
Okay.
So
Once you
then-
give me the signal, I'll go ahead and start seeing if we can prize these bars or something.
I'll give you a signal, I guess.
Are you sure about this? You don't have to do this.
We all don't have to be here, yet we are, so let's
That
go.
is true. Fate has been cruel to us all.
So yeah, I'm gonna start going.
Okay, so what do you do?
I'm going to look for people standing around and
Send your owl, or do you switch places?
yes, I'm going to switch places with my owl for a minute.
Okay, so while you're on the other side, do you do anything? I don't know if you have any invisibility or anything, but do you just kind of go stick your head up, or what? What do you do?
So what I do is I just fly high up, but where I can still see people.
Are you invisible or anything like that, or are you?
No,
Okay, so you just emerge from the aqueduct flying.
I would... Wait, she is her owl?
yes.
Oh, I thought she
You are your
legitimately,
owl,
like,
or you swap
switched
places with your
places
owl?
with it.
No, I am. I can switch places
Okay,
with my
so then
familiar.
you yourself, do you cast fly on yourself? Is that what you do?
If I'm no, I'm just seeing through my owl's eyes.
Okay, so that is what you're doing. Okay, so your owl is
Like a
able to go
drone.
up and
The
take a
oldie
look.
drone.
And as your owl emerges from the... Eric, could you mute yourself for a second, babe? Thank you. Sorry. As your owl emerges from the aqueduct and looks up, you are able to see a bustling and lively city. You see people going to and fro. Some of them are immediately recognizable as undead of some sort, though you do notice a number of other more notable undead, such as you notice 1 or 2 wights standing guard in different places or walking around. You notice some zombies, but then you also notice some what appear to be regular people walking around.
That is weird. Sorry, not in character.
Not what I would have expected.
No, it was not what I was expecting either.
That's a yikes from me.
Yes, because I am either definitely going to have to bring you guys in as prisoners, or we don't know this yet. We'll wait for Hestia.
We bring you in as a prisoner, and we demand ransom.
Oh, that could work.
Sorry, but yeah, go ahead. That's yeah.
Just unmute yourself.
I'm going to start flying, and
Specify if it's you or your owl, because the way that you're
it's
saying
me.
Has just taken off.
I am literally taking control of my owl, and I can see
yes.
what
So
it
if your
sees.
owl is the one that's flying, then say my owl flies, and I'm seeing through its eyes.
My owl flies, and I see through its eyes.
Okay, so you saw all of that.
Yes. Relay that information.
Okay. Well, we we're going through this city because I don't think. First off, I don't think we should just go in guns blazing. Second off, I'm pretty sure they know who we are because the guy that we killed identified us, and this looks like an open control of the city. Third, we have a guy with us that was upset at the mere thought of the queen dying, and now the whole city...
Oh my... Would you guys stop worrying about Charlemagne for the time being? Okay, the guy is gonna be okay for now.
Okay. So...
Did you say that out loud where Charlemagne could hear you?
No.
Because he's right near you guys.
Oh, is he?
He's at the back of the line. He was the last one in line.
Oh, right. We do need. What I want to say out loud is, we need to rethink how we're going to go through this city, because that is a very different situation than what I was expecting, and I'm not quite sure how to approach it.
Right. If I'm going to be honest, we should just try to go through the front door. Because it's going to look incredibly suspect. And it's going to raise a lot of suspicion if we just suddenly all emerge out of this aqueduct into a bustling street. Everyone is going to be looking at us. And if they are already looking for us, it's not going to take them long to catch up. At least, like, if we're at the beginning of the city, we know much more what to expect. We can't exactly really be surrounded as well. We have a clear way to run, so I don't know. I think we may have overthought this a bit, personally.
Maybe. We could all just hide from my undead and walk, because most of the people out there were undead, so that is a possibility as well. But we'd still have to get through the grate.
Great. You always come up with the worst excuses for your plans not to work.
We could squeeze through it. Alright. We could then squeeze through the gates. I don't know how aligned the humans are with the undead that are around, but maybe they are. But I don't know how they could convince an entire city to just be cool with undead. Maybe it's just like an occupation and they've just gotten used to it, but maybe aren't quite aligned with it.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to ask Hestia and say, did the people seem like normal? Did it look like the non-undead people were just like going about their business like this was just another day and nothing had happened? Or were people like, I don't know, maybe like a little more downcast looking or something like that? Just anything? Or did they just look completely ordinary?
Go ahead and roll a knowledge, or go ahead and roll sense motive, Hestia.
I'll give her guidance.
As you are kind of watching them through your owl's eyes, you notice that the obvious humans, at least, seem to give a bit of a wide berth to the undead, especially those that are more obvious undead.
Okay, so they're not exactly on. Well, she has to relay that to us, I guess.
I'm just gonna assume that I relay everything.
Yeah, she relays that to you guys. I don't know if you could hear her indirectly through my mic. Okay.
Okay, so it sounds like they're not exactly cool with the undead. They're at least scared of them, so this feels like an occupation. So if we come out of this grate with hide from undead, we should be fine, I think. There might be some humans that are maybe got some, what do you call it when someone's being captured and they love their captors?
Stockholm syndrome.
Yes, there might be some Stockholm syndrome. I don't know.
I'm honestly more concerned about the individuals who may see us and being on our side cause a stir. Just the happy shock of someone to the rescue.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. And they wouldn't know that we were under the spell anyways. No, that would be obvious too.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think they're going to be like, "Oh, we're saved. Hello, you got to kill these whites right here, my guy." Like, I think people might give us a suspicious look and just be like, "Whatever." Like, that's not the strangest thing to happen to me in my life. So I'm just gonna go on. I never thought that I'd see the city overrun with undead. I'm just gonna mind my business and keep my head down. Is what I think the average citizen is going to think.
We can also sneak out of it so they know that we're actively trying to avoid the undead, and then when they see that the undead are not taking notice to us, maybe they can put two and two together and not say something. Like, obviously make ourselves look sneaky.
Prince is putting a lot of faith in the deduction abilities of level 1 commoners.
Yeah.
Well, they're commoners, so they have common sense, right?
Oh! Chapter with a 5-headed play right here.
Well, even if they could see us, who knows if they're actually good and wouldn't want to rat us out to their evil overlords.
Yeah, Stockholm syndrome.
I think that we need the most
our evil overlords and look forward to the new regime that they bring.
Cause of public distraction, I have a spell, confusion, that will make people run around like idiots, and that could create at least
too.
and
then like all the undead are going on with all of you morons.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe a bad idea. Okay.
Look,
So maybe
here's what I can do. I can make it so a few things. I can make it so that someone, at least two. I don't know if I can do two at a time. I can make it so that someone appears to be dead. I'm not sure if that'd be useful in this situation, but I can make maybe 3 people lose their memory of what happened in the past 5 seconds or so. And if there's only maybe 3
coming
people,
towards us.
what's coming towards us?
Someone's coming towards us.
Well, okay, we can't like prise the bars open right in front of this person. Everybody run!
Let's back up into the tunnel.
back up.
Is it far enough to where they can't see through? Unless someone has like a darkness spell they can cast really quick,
Like,
just at the between us and the thing.
In my mind, there's just no possible way we can talk our way out of this.
No, there's not.
Make a perception check.
All of us?
No, this.
Nomad, you're in front.
Me?
Yes, you're in front.
Awesome. Here we go. I see everything.
You can
I'm pretty much
hear.
clairvoyant.
Yeah, you look at. You can actually pick apart everything as if it's the Matrix. You're just. So, you hear footsteps as someone above you rounds the area and starts coming down the stairs down into the aqueduct. And after a moment, you can see the silhouette of somebody in front of the bars.
Oh, I feel like
Welcome
this person
to
must...
Melkhar. You have been summoned to the king.
Hi there. Can you help us get in, please? We seem to have taken the wrong entrance.
You recognize that the person is a human woman,
No.
and no, there's nothing special about her. Just a generic human woman. None of you have seen her before, and as you get closer, you can see a bit of a glazed look in her eyes.
Alright, I'm gonna ask, hey, What is your name, if you don't mind me asking?
My name is Melanie.
All right, sense motive. To see, I'm going to sense motive to see if she's under the influence of an enchantment.
Okay, give me a sense motive.
Isn't that an Arcana?
No, sense motive. You can check for enchantments to see if someone is under the effects of a spell, like
Okay. That's cool.
That's part of sense motive.
Yeah, just kind of detecting variations in the way that they do things, or distress and duress. Okay, yes. So it is pretty obvious to you that more than likely she is being dominated by a vampire in some way.
Okay, I am going
Possibly in multiple
to.
ways.
I am going to sing. Counter song.
And that lets her use your perform check as the.
Yes, that lets her
bonus?
use my
Okay.
perform check as her save against a currently existing language-based thing.
Does it have to be language based?
It has to
You're
be.
gonna make me look up vampire domination.
Hold on, I am going to double check.
Yes, please do.
Well, I'll guidance him real quick if he's gonna do that.
Him or her? It'd be her.
It can be.
Well, it's his
Sonic.
perform check, so that's going to boost his skill check by 1.
It would be her save that you're wanting to boost.
Yes.
Yes, but
it
I
has to
boost
be-
his perform up, which will boost the save.
Okay. I guess
It has to
that's
be
it's semantics.
language dependent. It does have to be language dependent.
Okay, given that the dominate ability of vampires, and I may be revealing my hand a little bit too much here, but I'm pretty sure that you guys would have gathered that by this point. Given that the dominate used by vampires mentions language nowhere, I'm going to say that it does not have any effect on her.
It doesn't mention it anywhere? Then how do they control them? Do they just do it telepathically?
A vampire can crush a human, and this is all out of character. Your characters don't know this, but this is just for you guys, so if you want to dispute this, we can have that conversation, but a vampire can crush a humanoid opponent's will as a standard action. Anyone the vampire targets must succeed on a will save or fall instantly under the vampire's influence, as though by a dominate person spell.
Well, dominate person is language dependent. Or at least last time I checked it was. Maybe it's not. Okay.
Through
Maybe
a
it isn't.
telepathic link that you establish with the
Okay.
subject's mind.
Telepathic. Okay, it's
Yep.
telepathic.
Dominate
Okay.
person
Yeah,
is
he's
specified.
back.
That is cringe. That is cringe.
Okay.
I believe all
I have-
other charm spells are language based, but I guess dominate person is not.
I have a plan, which I don't know that I need to say it privately to you, DM, but when we do open up these bars, I want for my familiar to cast Lesser Confusion on this woman.
Okay. Let me verify what lesser confusion does. Do you guys have a plan to open up the bars?
Real fast, I'm going to turn to everyone and say, so it seems like we may have wandered into a trap. We
I mean,
can
we
just
knew
turn
that.
around and leave right now and not get the bars open.
I mean, the rain gave that away, which is what I was saying.
Well, yes, but now we know it for sure. I
The
mean, do you really
king
think this meeting with
offers
the king?
you... The woman speaks up. The king offers the white flag of peace for you to come and see him. He means you no harm. You are welcomed into his city at this time.
And what guarantee do we have of our safety? What can he offer?
The king's benevolence should be enough for you.
It's not. Respectfully. You have to understand our position here. You can never be too careful in Zelkir these days.
The city of Melkhar is safe for all those within it. Abide by the laws, and you will not be accosted. You are summoned by the king.
Well, how do you propose we remove these bars?
She looks at the bars with a note of confusion. I don't know. You are summoned by the king. I am to escort you there.
Escort us through these bars. Just-
Well, does anybody have an idea of how we can open up these bars then?
I have heard of someone using a whip, a wet whip in particular, or a wet cloth, and putting it around
You're
bars.
talking about Shanghai Noon.
Yes, I am.
Get out of here.
That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get out of here.
That would take several decades. And while
Would
the
it?
vampires have that time, we don't.
Wait, what do you mean?
Wait. Are you talking about the guy that, like, peed on rags and then, like, separated the bars? That
Yes.
is not...
Yep.
Yeah, no. That Mythbusters, okay? Mythbusters
Did
tested
they?
that. That is not a real thing.
Was it because of the strength of the rag?
No, the rag did not break.
Okay.
They even got, like, I think even, like, a machine that was, like, far greater strength than a human's, and that still had no effect.
Was that on, like, historical type of sealed bars or modern?
I don't remember. What is different about historical bars?
They're probably made out of
Iron?
iron.
Instead of
Strength
steel?
of the material.
Yeah,
Okay.
iron is not as strong as
Yeah.
most other things, especially old iron.
Higher carbon steel and different annealing methods and whatnot would cause much greater structural strength.
Charlemagne, can I borrow your hammer?
He hands you his hammer.
Great. I will just start whacking away then, since our presence is already known. I will
Okay.
break all of the bars. None of the bars. I'll break them at the highest and lowest possible points, so that entrance and exit is about as easy as possible.
Do any of you have any spells that would assist with this? I'm curious. Not that
Don't
you
blow
have
any
to
I don't
use
know
your
spells.
spells.
I have a mithril axe, so I'm gonna help out with a mithril axe.
Do you have do you have a whetstone? Because you are gonna dull the crap out of your axe if you do that. I mean, you could do it if you want, but have mercy
I'll use
on
the
your
backside.
tools.
I won't use the blade. I'll use the backside of the
Okay.
axe.
I mean, is it a magical axe
Uh,
or is it just masterwork?
I think it's just masterwork.
Okay, yeah. Don't use the blade, please.
Yeah, not gonna use the blade.
Okay, good. Yeah, you're able to break your way through the bars. It takes you a few minutes, but you're able to break through enough that you're able to get your party through. And as you do so, all of a sudden, the woman in front of you starts noticeably panicking, and not to you guys, but kind of just like jumping at voices around her. And
Go now.
she's just
What?
yeah, she's just like
Go where?
not
What?
not
Go.
paying attention to you.
Run
And she's just
now.
Go where?
You
Like
see
down-
Jasper like push, like get out through the bars, push the woman through the bars, and just rush out into the area. I mean, I guess he's peeking, from the city. Like I don't know how far away or how long it takes to get to like the city streets, but I want him to be able to look down.
like you're
and still be
talking
able
20 feet.
to see. Okay, I want him
You
to
go
still be able
up and then
to
back
see
20 feet.
the. I want him to stand in a spot where he could still visibly see the woman, because he'll cast
What would you cast?
what is it? Memory lapse on her when the confusion
'Kay.
stops.
Okay. You cast memory lapse, and I presume you duck out of sight.
I mean, I don't know if anybody's following me.
Yeah, he could have told us what was going on and done that. That would have been a lot more
Okay,
helpful.
everybody give me a stealth check really quick. I want to see if
I
actually,
am going to actually, as Jasper does that, I'm going to cast protection from evil on the woman in front of us.
Oh, on the one
would
down
my
below?
eyes show me what if somebody's approaching us?
On the woman who was under control?
No,
Yes.
outside.
No, sorry, hold on. Nomad, you cast protection from evil on the woman who was under control.
That's correct. And that should prevent, at least for the time being, it won't. I don't think it gets rid of Dominate, but it does
gives
prevent
her
the
a
link.
second save. As she comes out of the stupor of memory lapse, you cast the spell on her, and she shakes her head and looks around. Where am I? Where's the van? Oh God. What is... And she just drops to her knees, and she doesn't notice you guys, but she drops to her knees and begins sobbing down in the wastewater in the aqueduct.
Steady yourself. It's going to be all right. What's your name?
What did I say it was before? Did I say Melanie?
Yeah.
Melanie.
Does she look at me?
She doesn't. She is on her knees, just clutching herself and barely being able to talk through her sobbing. So at this point, I'll take it that you guys have not made yourselves visible all the way to the street above.
No.
Okay.
She doesn't react unless you do something else, but at this point she is just uncontrollably sobbing on the ground.
Oh wow.
I would tell Melanie, Melanie, I understand what's happened to you, but we don't have a lot of time. The vampire that did this to you, can you give me any information? Who he is, where he is?
She looks up at you, and through the tears as they kind of begin to subside a little, she says, "His name is Pietro. He's in the palace. He kept me there for weeks, for months. I'm not sure. Doing his bidding. He keeps guards there. But he's usually there. Someone's usually there. And the Lich, she shudders. The skeleton often comes and visits him. Sorry, she wouldn't have said Lich, she would have just said skeleton.
Okay.
He always, even through the control, it was almost too much to be near him.
Have you heard anybody by the name of Maleth?
She thinks for a moment. Actually, call high or low.
Hi.
Maleth? Yes, I believe so. The woman, and no, she dark hair and slender build.
Right. Do you know where she is? Is she safe?
I don't know where she is, but she was brought to see the king, the She was brought to see Pietro just yesterday. I wasn't there for long, but I saw her be brought in by the skeleton.
I see. Was she harmed?
I don't know. It's all a blur. I remember
That's-
today and yesterday, and everything beyond that is fuzzy. Like a dream.
That's alright. And one last thing, Melanie. Is there anything you know of that we can use against the king, against Pietro? Any weakness at all? Even the smallest thing could help. Anything that could be exploited.
He cannot be stopped. He controls the city. Some through force, but mostly it really is his. You cannot do anything to him.
And what of the queen? Does Pietro rule openly as the king? Has he truly replaced her?
The queen has not been seen in... oh, I don't even know how long. Months? Has it been years? Since they came.
I'm a little fuzzy on the timeline myself, but it has been half a year or so.
It seems like an eternity. Oh gods. Take it from my mind.
Does she have any weapons on her, by chance?
She does not.
Okay. I'll take one of the daggers that I have, and I'll give that to her. I'll tell her. Well, whatever the case, you're free now. We've opened the way back here. It's an aqueduct. It'll lead you back all the way out of the city. And then... can we just give her, like, a quick sketch of the map, like before with those other people? To, like, tell her how to get back to, whatever, Bellevant City? Sorry, I
Barrowing,
can't...
you're good.
Barrowing, yeah.
She looks at you. You want me to travel out of the city? I couldn't survive out there. I had friends in the city. I will try and find them.
Are you sure that's a good idea? What if they start looking for you now? Pietro has to know that I broke the spell.
Then I will go out on my own terms. They will not have me again.
But how can you be sure of that? If you leave now, you'll at least die free if you do die.
She drops back to her knees and begins sobbing again. Go. Leave me, she says.
I'm going to grab Nomad and pull him aside. I can suggest for her to do this thing. I can compel her to do it.
No,
Nomad?
I think she...
You'd
brought
have
up
to
a good
wait.
point.
So,
Hold on.
sorry.
I do think she made a good point, actually. It's quite unlikely she would make that day's journey all the way back. We could keep her with us for the time being, until we can keep her safe. Or maybe we can at least help her reach some place of safety.
Maybe. But Pietro's gonna notice when she doesn't come back, and he also did summon us, and none of this sounds good for her. No matter which way this goes, unless she pretends to still be compelled, but she can't even hold herself together long enough to have a conversation with us, let alone... So...
I think Pietro would see right through her immediately.
Yes, I think he would too.
Melanie, you said you had friends. Can you lay low with them for a while? And I mean really.
If I can find them.
Where are they? Can we help you find them? Without, of course, drawing too much attention to you.
They don't keep that careful watch over the city. I can look on my own. Please, leave me be.
Okay. Alright, so... What's the game plan, Nomad? Jasper, Hestia?
Yeah, where is Jasper, by the way?
Where is Jasper? Did he run?
He was starting to. And
already talking to Pietro.
I don't really know what to do.
Okay,
We could search down for Pietro, but he has kind of an army behind him.
well, we
And
don't have
also,
to search
guys,
for him.
we've been given an opportunity to get very intimate knowledge of Pietro. If you want that, now is the time to ask this girl before we never see her again.
Okay.
So, yeah, Jasper, if you've got anything...
I can,
Are you
I'll
here, Jake? Sorry, go ahead, Prince.
I believe Jake is here.
Oh, I forgot I was muted again. I apologize. Jasper is at the part of the stairs before it turns, is what I thought Taggart was describing. Yeah. So he was seeing, and he's not visible to the streets above.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna ask her, what is the disposition of Pietro? Do you have any idea what he wants from us with the...
I can't say. I don't know. I was commanded to come here to this aqueduct, and that you would be waiting within it, and that I should tell you to come, that you were summoned by the king.
Okay. I can't think of anything to ask this poor girl. Not that would be relevant.
I mean, that's okay. I'm not, pressuring you guys to, find questions. I'm just saying, we've been given, a golden goose here of info for this, so let's just not squander it, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I can't think of... I cannot think of anything that would be of use. I guess we should just accept the summon. Any suggestions?
Last thing I'll tell Melanie, just one last thing I want to mention. If you're able to make it to Barrowing, that is the last free city in Zelkir. I know you may not have a chance, maybe for a good long while, but if you can, make it there, and you will be safe. And Melanie, and I'll look her in the eyes, make sure she knows I'm being sincere. Thank you. And I'm sorry.
She nods and averts her eyes from you.
Okay, I will go just start following Jasper, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we're... quick before we leave, should I pretend to be, Varzeval? I don't know if that's gonna go very well. Yes, I don't think I'm skeptical that it'll go well because he's so intimate. He is, a child of Pietro. I don't know how well I can really pull off.
Are you still wearing his diadem?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we'll see, I guess.
Well, the thing is, I can't I can't wear this thing on the head that I am wearing if I'm not going to pretend to be him. Because if we walk in and it's very clear that we've killed him or stolen his things.
Wait, are you talking about like the headpiece?
Yes.
I thought that was just like a very average piece of equipment looking. I thought that's what Taggart said.
Alright, well, I'm going to take it off my head and look at it and examine it closely to see how similar it is and how, fungible it is. What do I need to roll?
Is it non-fungible?
Yes, it is a non-fungible token.
Yes, it is definitely a non-fungible crown.
Is it? Wait, do I have to roll for it? Taggart?
Yeah, roll an appraise check.
Oh, appraise. Ooh.
I'll give him a guidance.
That's a knowledge base. I am going to do my...
It is not a knowledge check.
No, it's an int check. That's
it
what
is
I meant.
An int
it
check,
is.
Yes.
So I am going to do my bluff, a pageant of the peacock dance. Masterpiece. I'm only going to do it for...
Dances around with it.
I'm only going to do it for one round because I only need 10 minutes.
Give me a moment. I need to double check this. Okay. Alright. Go ahead and roll your
Does that work?
Yep.
It wouldn't be Actually, it would.
No,
it'd be bluff. Okay, it would be. It would be.
Well, I mean, bluff would make more sense. But you're able to use your perform in place of bluff.
Yes, my comedy. Okay.
Very good. It's weird. Your character is so weird. I get torn between things that I'm like, is that legit? Is that allowable?
but here's the thing. I don't know how the skill would work otherwise. It says in place of intelligence-based skills.
Yes. Well, it's just that you're getting to use your bluff in place of intelligence-based skills, and then your other thing lets you use perform in place of bluff.
Just bard things.
Yeah, it's just... At least you're not trying to sleep with all the undead, so... Oh, that's
just
true, you haven't hit the vampires yet. Yeah.
So I'm appraising it for 43.
It is not particularly the most... babe, could you mute your mic? It is not the most noticeable thing, but it is certainly... If you knew enough to recognize it, you could recognize it. But there's nothing, if it's not familiar to you, that would stand out, if that makes sense. Is that...
that means...
That means if you knew, you could... Someone who's familiar with seeing it on Varzaval would be able to see, that looks like Varzaval's.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, so... Should I pretend to be Varzaval? Should we try this? I mean, if he knew we were down... Here's the thing. If he knew we were down here...
He doesn't even know. That's not... We found out that the headband is not unique.
Yes, but he knows we're already down here. He sent someone specifically down here to tell us. So... Am I overthinking it?
The girl saw you already in his clothes. So if that was going to be a problem, it already is. So whether you wear his clothes and stuff or not, I don't think is of any consequence anymore. You know?
Okay. Alrighty. So should I go in as Varzold with you guys in tow? Or with me in tow as the prisoner?
I think you in tow would be better.
Okay.
I mean us in tow. Us in tow. My gosh.
Us, you in tow?
He already saw us very not taken prisoner, though. None of this matters anymore. He knows our exact situation. There is no bluffing. Let's just go meet him. If we're just going to meet him, let's just meet him as regular people and die. This is where the party gets wiped. But I don't know what else to do, so...
Alright. Well, let's go. Let's just go, because I don't know what else to do either. I feel like we've been made, but... Alright, let's go. Do we still need to find a way to squeeze through the bars?
No, you guys got through the bars.
Okay. Alright, well, I say we just go to the summons.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I think we are walking into a deep trap.
Okay.
Not until I hear a better idea.
I don't have one.
Here is the question for you all. Do you want to save... Actually, I think this is probably the place to call it. I'm going to give you a description as you're walking through the city up until you reach the palace. And at that point, that's where we'll call it. And then we'll resume from there next week. How does that sound?
That sounds fair.
Okay.
Sounds good.
As you emerge to the rest of the city, you see about what you saw earlier that Hestia had described. Business almost as usual. Occasionally at places where you'd expect to see city guards, you notice well-armed and armored skeletons standing guard perfectly still, apparently not looking at anything. You see people walking through the streets. You see a few undead. The zombies appear to be performing menial tasks and labor. You see a couple of wights. And even at one point you see a vampire as well. Kind of just appear out of mist and perform, some sort of transaction with someone and then disappear, poof back into mist and go away. But other than the oddities in the people that you see around you, the city appears to be going about as normal. Although at one point, you pass a stall that appears to actually have regular food, though the quality of the produce is not of the highest quality. And someone, as they're looking at things, trips and knocks over one of the stalls. As they do so, two nearby skeleton guards move forward and, as if almost to apprehend the person, but when no apparent fight begins to break out, they return back to their post. And, the person who knocked over the produce runs away, and the shopkeep gathers it all up, and everyone, very very carefully looking at the skeletons and any others around them, just kind of tries to keep their space. The shopkeep actually, said, no, it's fine, to the skeletons as they came close. But other than that, the city seems to be going about almost business as usual, with an edge, and with the constant overcast. But business as usual. As you approach the nicer portions of the city, the location of the palace is pretty evident. The quality of the streets and the buildings improves, and as you reach the more ornate structures near the palace, you notice dozens of skeleton guards out front, armed to the teeth, standing motionless. You notice a small perched figure on the roof of the palace, surveilling the city. Do you have any questions or anything in particular you'd like to know about anything that you've seen up until now? Oh, actually, one other thing that I'll say before you go. There hasn't been much of a reaction to you. There have been a few people who notice you and shy away. The skeletons might turn towards you as you get close, but they do not do anything as you walk past. A number of the more notable undead seem to give you a little bit of a wider berth. But other than that, you yourselves seem to make no impact on the city.
Wow. Okay. Well, it sounds like my original suspicion of the town being completely overcome with undead was the right one. But it was unbelievable at the time. I'm not saying this out loud, sorry. I'm just...
You hear Jasper approach you and say, "Well, what do you know, Prince? You were right." Well, I mean, you had multiple hypotheses, but you were right.
Yes. And I wish I had thought I was right, because I would have approached this a lot differently.
I mean, the approach you took, I thought it was keeping in mind that it would be like this. I think you did all right. Just maybe this isn't the place to make friends. Not that you were going to do that, but I think
We might still make friends here. I mean, we may not have...
Start with that.
We may not have a choice. We seem vastly outnumbered and surrounded. And... I mean... I don't know what you expect to do here beyond...
Regicide.
Regicide? Well, hold on. That's...
Look it up.
Wait, is that uncle?
No.
Father?
No.
No, that's for like killing nobility, right?
Yes, it is.
Correct. Specifically, the action of killing a king.
Okay, do you say that in character,
Please
Jasper?
don't.
Oh.
Please don't.
He does. He does in a whispered tone.
Okay. Oh, God. Alright, well, I am going to try to hold my cool, but slightly look around to see if anyone's reacting to that.
I'm going to give Jasper a hard stare, just emotionless stare into his eyes. Does he react to that?
Jasper gives he gives kind of an eye roll, but it's not like a, oh, whatever. It's more like a, all right, fine, maybe I need to keep my mouth shut too, kind of eye roll.
Oh, boy. This is...
Noticed, Jasper, but we're in no place to fight right now.
No.
I agree.
You do
We're
something
not in a
stupid,
place
you're going to
to
get everybody killed.
Tiffany is going to nod and say we don't need this to be a suicide mission.
No,
It's like a suicide mission.
It won't be. We kind of need either an army or for our customers to be isolated, and I don't think we have either of those. But we can try to accomplish something here.
Honestly,
I was talking more about the bigger picture and the end goal.
I feel like we do not have any leverage here at all.
Well, we are inside, and we will get what information we can.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I did not
honestly... Go ahead.
I did not expect my what I was saying to be taken that way. I thought your sternness was more about the chance that maybe we're being overheard, which, anyway.
Well, end goals in mind, being overheard is a problem with that particular end goal, but also it doesn't seem quite feasible right now.
What do we... I mean, like, no, the larger question is, what do we even hope to accomplish at this meeting?
Yes.
Well, no, I don't know if we need to meet him just yet, but we should try to save Maleth if we can, and that will very likely require some help on Hestia's part. I'm pretty sure we will need to move through the Shadow Plane in order to escape.
Do we need to see Pietro to do that? And also, listen,
No.
I don't mean to seem cold here, but how far are we honestly willing to go just for Maleth? We can't give up all of our lives and everything that we've accomplished dying trying to find her. I mean, this is suicidal. I
Yes, it
legitimately
is.
see no reason to see Pietro.
I am agreeing now, especially since I can't do anything about his domination of other people, at least not on any grand scale, and it seems as though he can probably dominate large amounts of people and has been doing so for a while. He's got complete control over the city, so we're basically walking into a place where our escape will be nil and we have no leverage at all, unless one of you has some leverage that will help us with him. Like, we might just want to get out of here, but I don't even know what we would do when we leave.
I may possibly have leverage. I can give him an offer he can't refuse, but I don't think that this is the time to do it. The eventual place, I'm sure, and that's what I meant by my comment earlier. Not the day that we would, meet him today, or even tomorrow, or within the week, but rather we have the opportunity, being inside the capital, to acquire information, to perhaps catch a certain lieutenants, or whatever they call themselves, lords, to catch them by surprise and whittle things down on our way to finding Maleth. And I think she is valuable to attempt to save if she is sincere in her drive to, dispose of her father. I think that's a valuable ally, potentially.
Yes, Maleth certainly was a valuable. But we're talking... Okay, the way I see it, if I'm Pietro, we go into that palace, we are completely surrounded, cut off. I don't see any reason for him to let us go. If I was Pietro, I would either kill all of us, because he certainly would have the means to, or he would mind control every single one of us. I sincerely do not see any reason that he would not get rid of us. It just doesn't make any sense. He has to. He knows a little bit about us, at least. He has to know that we stand a decent chance, at least making his life a little bit harder, maybe not stopping him. We are nothing but an obstruction to him. There is no deal we could make with him at all. That is only going to be suicidal. I say that we try to leave the city, see if anything tries to stop us, and we can maybe go from there. But going into that palace is just... It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. I agree. I agree. As we have been contemplating meeting him, I have come to the same conclusion. Unless we have some valuable leverage that we can use, or at least know that he won't kill us, or know why he won't kill us, or know what he wants from us, I see no reason for us to go in there. And not until we can find some way of reversing whatever hold he has on this place, or figuring out more about it.
Look, I don't know this Maleth. I don't know this Maleth like you do, so I have no attachment to her, but are the only choices here really to leave the city altogether or go face Pietro?
They're not. They're not at all.
Well, Pietro thinks that we're not going to meet him and fall into his obvious trap, because I, again, literally can't see it being anything else. he's probably going to try to get rid of us if that's not going to work.
Okay, so it sounds like we need to find a way to make him think we've left the city and find a way to sneak into the castle for Maleth.
I don't see a way of doing that. If he knew we were at that tunnel, he knows where we are now. There's like I don't know exactly how he knew we were there, but the fact that he did know we were precisely there either tells me that he has someone following us with a telepathic connection, or he has some way of seeing the whole city or outside of the city or something. He knew we were there, and that amount of knowledge is terrifying right now, because it means that I don't see a way of us fooling him unless we hide from undead. But then he knows we're gone, and then he'll be looking for us.
We need a new plan entirely to come at entire end goal here, is the issue. Honestly, well, I'm just saying, like, Pietro's got us in this little dance. I think the only way we can win this game is to not play at all. I am not going to play into Pietro's hands. Whatever he's got, clearly he knows that he's not going to purposely disadvantage himself. If we go and meet him, that's obviously going to serve him in some kind of an end. Whether, like I said before, that's killing us or taking over our minds or maybe just imprisoning us. There can't be anything positive we can get out of that interaction. It makes no sense.
I agree we shouldn't interact with him. I totally agree we shouldn't interact with him. I found in my experience there's rarely ever only two ways to approach the situation. It sounds like there's only two ways any of us are really considering.
Well, no. I have considered other things. It's just I don't know what to do about you. I think that he's trying to create a sort of deathless world. And I am deathless, and I'm immune to undeath. So I fit into his mindset, it seems, pretty well. I don't think I would have all that much problem as a citizen of his world. And my big thing is that, my thing is that I think that the eventual fate of the world he's creating is an extreme punishment by Pharasma. And I can try to convince him of that myself, but I don't think I'm going to be that persuasive right now, especially if we don't have any leverage. And I also think that
right now, threatening people with the wrath of the gods isn't even enough to stop a common bandit from doing something.
No, it's not.
But what I'm hearing from this, however, is that perhaps if you met with him, you could survive without dying if you didn't have the rest of us with you.
Perhaps. That is possible. But I don't know what I...
Theoretically, we could send you in to meet with him, act like you had a big split with everyone, and that everyone else left when maybe they could be sneaking in to find your friend.
That could work. That definitely could work. But
I need to interject.
I suspect that Jasper is on a revenge quest. That is what I have been thinking for the past day. He seems to have a vendetta or some sort of love interest, and he has been running off towards this situation.
Jasper speak. He just tried to say something.
Yeah.
You insult me with your insinuations now, if I may. Yes, I've made it quite clear that I have a history with Pietro and it's personal. I am not insinuating or saying in any way that I am ready to go and face him right now. But if we are talking about what leverage we do have at our disposal, Pietro is very unlikely to simply outright kill me should I visit him. Do I anticipate that my visit with him would result in his death? Absolutely not. Do I anticipate that escape would be easy? Well, not easy, but possible.
You have one leg, Jasper. It's not going to be possible.
And I would
I've faced him
also...
before, and there is dimensional door, which is very helpful.
I am a bit
There might be a
curious.
dimensional anchor in this city.
I am a bit curious as to why you think he's not going to kill you, Jasper.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, if everyone would let me speak. Now, Pietro nearly killed my wife. Emmeline Tempest succeeded where he failed. Pietro may have numbers, he may have influence. I doubt that in the years since we last met, that he is this godly figure of sorts. Every vampire has their kink. I think that the thing that Pietro, that I can offer to him, would be enticing enough. It could draw attention away from wherever Melith is held and provide the time that you need to rescue her. And I believe I could get myself out.
I personally like this plan. As I said before, if we have some reason to believe that there's members of this party Pietro won't kill, then them going in alone would keep him occupied from hunting the rest of us. And we can, whoever met with him, and I don't think it should be the whole group of us, could convince him that they split off from the rest or something. Now, whether that's Jasper and Prince or just Prince, as Pietro could think Prince might be on his side, I don't know, but either way, if he's sufficiently distracted, then the rest of us could potentially sneak and save your friend, if that is something all of you want to do. But as you kind of said before, if we all do just leave, he's probably going to come after us anyway.
Very true.
Yes, but that way at least we stand a chance of surviving. And sorry, Jasper, clear this up for me again. Why isn't he going to kill you?
It's because I would request a special confrontation with Emmeline Tempest, and her being a lieutenant of his, and the way that confrontation would proceed, I imagine it's something he would find absolutely delectable and wouldn't refuse me.
Wouldn't he just turn you?
No, if it were
so he
as
lets
simple
you
as
have that meeting, and then he kills you. Why, again, just why would he let you go?
How would you get out?
Here is what I want to explain to you. Pietro is nearly dead. He was but an inch from it. All that it would take is one more strike, one more firebolt. And despite that, he couldn't get over his uncontrollable vampire inclinations and take a bite at my wife, and she nearly died. We barely saved her. Now, if you know that you're on your last leg and you need to leave and you can't help but turn around and make that attack, and we were very unlucky to not have hit him, well, I think that he is a man, if you can call him that, of many particularities, some of which I am decently familiar with, and I think that he is looking for a bit of entertainment. What kind of proper king wouldn't want a show for his court, if you will? I think that's exactly what he's looking for. He wants to play with his food before eating it.
Yes, but you will get eaten.
Possibly. And the thing about my plan is that it is a stupid plan if we do not know where Melith is beforehand. I would only suggest doing my plan if we find out where she is or probably is. Otherwise, it's not worth it. We could spend our time here gathering information, maybe performing some cleanup, and leaving.
I do have a question for Taggart. Are there any random humans around?
Yeah, there are.
If I try to do a touch with if I try to do a touch of Ears of the City to see if there's been any mention of Maleth or anything like that, do they look like they're skid? Like, what do they look like? What is the disposition of the humans around?
How about let's take that as where we want to start next time?
Okay.
I feel like this conversation is a great one to have, but it's a beginning conversation, not a wrapping up conversation.
Yeah, we haven't even come close to deciding what we're going to do. But
So,
as much as I appreciate the Discord, yeah.
So what let's do, let's drop a couple notes in of kind of where we want to pick up next time or something, and I can either put it in a document or we can just put it here in the chat, because I think this is very productive and a good way to go, and I think it's also interesting to watch. So, but
yes, it's
time-wise, it's not opportune.
It's 12:30.
Yeah.
I think out of character. No, wait.
Say it.
Jasper has a death wish. Jasper wants finality.
Yeah, honestly, Jasper's saying like, "Oh, just Charlemagne," and then like he's like, "Well, I can regicide. Go talk to Pietro. You know, I hate him because he tried to kill my wife. But Charlemagne's the one that's going to fly off the handle at any moment. So keep an eye on him."
Well, that's not really what Jasper said, that last part. And nobody sensed motive on Jasper anyway when he explained that when he mentioned regicide, that was not what he had planned on doing today.
Oh, today? I'm not going to murder him today.
Yeah, just like, when we actually can. But...
my feeling on Jasper is that Jasper is overwhelmed by his emotions, and he wants to get in this situation no matter what, and I feel as though he has not thought it out, and I feel like he is going to die or become a vampire, or I do not see Jasper walking out of what he's asking us to let him go do. I don't even really see myself walking out of it, but I think I have a better chance than Jasper.
Yeah,
Jasper
that's
doesn't
why I recommended you.
necessarily disagree with it. Jasper admitted that you would also be a potentially good candidate. He was just letting you know what the options are.
Yeah, but I'm also terrified because I'm going to have to approach this like, yeah, I like your plan, I like your style, blah, 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 but I don't know where to go with it after that. Like,
even if you're... Go ahead.
No, that was it.
I was saying, like, even if you're playing to his ego, Jasper, you're not going to get anywhere with that. Like,
no.
This is still the man that managed to take over the capital city. He might like to play with his food, but hey, he still was smart enough and organized enough to take over the city. And even he won't, I would assume, unless he is just like retarded and got into his position by happenstance, he's not just going to release you, be like, "Oh, right, that was entertaining, Jasper. I'll see you tomorrow. Go wherever you want now." He's going to be like, "That was entertaining. Now I'm going to kill you, you dumb bastard." Is exactly what
Pietro's not what I said.
He's also probably not going to turn you because you're legless, and he seems to like. I don't know.
Well, I know that's not exactly what you said, but I'm saying, look at this from Pietro's side of view. Why would he let you live? Why would he let you go out unmolested? You think he'd be like, "Okay, yeah, Jasper can give me a fun time, and then I'll just let him go." Like,
I actually said the opposite of that. I said that escaping him wouldn't be easy, but I'd be more likely to escape than defeat him.
Yeah.
I was merely presenting another option in the spirit of what Tiffany was mentioning.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, I apologize for twisting your words, but would be incredibly likely that a capital city would have a dimensional anchor that would prevent assassins from coming in and killing the queen at any time. That is just like a commonplace defensive measure that like a large city would take.
Then perhaps it is best to send Prince, but I wouldn't send him in until we've figured out where Melith is, or at least having a good idea of where she might be.
I would also need a game plan, because yes, I can spin it like, oh yeah, I like your style, blah, 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 but like, I don't know where to go from there, because it's like, I don't know what we're trying to do.
That is legitimately the only way, is Prince's way. Everything else fails or loses in some way.
Anyway, what I would suggest you doing is listen to him, act like you might be halfway on board with him, but don't commit and use something like you need to find more answers about your past and stuff before you can fully commit or something.
Yeah, I could, and I will honestly say that out of character.
No.
No, well, I can't say it otherwise. I'm gonna keep things to myself.
First and foremost, what you need to... Sorry, what?
Why don't you just walk in dressed in Varzaval's garb, and that might, impress Pietro.
Say you're here to replace him. That Varzaval did not deserve his place, and that you are here to be a better servant than he ever was.
I actually was already thinking about
as well. Okay,
I'm glad, because I was half joking, but that's honestly probably something I would tickle his fancy.
First things first, you need to establish immediately that you are not going to oppose him, that you can be of help. Yes. You need to give him a reason not to kill you, because he has a reason to kill every single one of us, and there's no reason that he shouldn't.
I don't want to kill our momentum by having this conversation now and then executing it next week.
Yeah.
So let's jot down some notes and then have this conversation next week, because I love the idea. I usually hate splitting the party, but I think this would be very interesting.
Yeah,
I like it too. Yeah, I mean, as Jake's saying this, this probably isn't personally the time I want to have that. Maybe Jasper does. But Jake probably doesn't want to have Jasper confront Pietro just yet. But the idea of Prince confronting Pietro sounds incredibly interesting and humorous, so I'm down for humor, please.
But I will also say this, out of character. my character, his goals in this particular situation
are suspect.
Not be the best person to leave alone with Pietro with you guys gone.
I got it. Hestia, just put your owl onto him.
I'm totally gonna do it.
And then he can say, "Oh yeah, this is my pet owl," so that we can get an insight into what's being said.
Okay, well that might be good. You might want to keep tabs on me. Anyways, we can call it. I don't want to do it out of character, but I know what my character might go with if Pietro says certain things. So,
of course, I think that's the temptation of any of Taggart's villains.
And Kayla, look, I want to rescue Melkhar. Don't get me wrong. Like in game and out of game, I want to, or in character and out of character, but I gotta look out for my character at the same time.
No, I get it. It was actually kind of tough for me because Tiffany has no tie to Melith, but I was like, well, she's done a lot of sneaking and stuff, and so she's probably had to deal with situations like this to think out of the box. So, what's an alternate idea?
I'm just gonna say this. My character's immortal for a reason, on some level, he wanted to be immortal. Anyways, let's probably...
let's table that. I guess I'll leave it up to you guys ultimately if more than one of you if anyone will accompany Prince. But I think that will make for a very interesting next session if we kind of, and I'll come up with a plan of how we'll kind of paddle back and forth between the two sides and maybe keep the tension going and whatnot. So I'll do some preparations for that and
suggesting splitting the party, but I was like.
Yeah, but splitting parties is rough on DMs, so that's why I was also hesitant about that. It gets really funky.
Yeah, in a controlled circumstances, I have zero problem with it. So, yeah.
That's not metagaming, that's looking out for him, because it gets weird.
Freaking metagamers. When I'm DMing the Star Wars campaign, no looking out for me. Screw me.
Screw God! He's not gonna strike us down with a lightning bolt for doing something he displeases
Let's
him.
split the party. You are struck by a lightning bolt. Let's stick together. Your wounds mysteriously heal.
I would say it'd be really messed up if Tiffany was struck by lightning for coming up with this plan when she has the least interest in actually saving Melith.
See,
I'm glad Tiffany brought it up.
She's got evasion. She's got it.
I've had several DMs do DM magic to prevent me from doing something that would mess up their campaign, so I'm a little bit skittish. So,
That's some cringe. That's some cringe railroading right there.
It has happened to me.
Here's my thoughts on that, and it's my response to that would be the same. Would be very similar to if I have players who just want to be murder hobos. It's like if you just want to be murder hobos as players, go play a video game. If you want to railroad your party that bad as a DM, go write a book. You're in the wrong medium.
Okay.
If your story is that perfect and you can't let anybody touch it, D&D isn't the place to tell it. I want to hear your story. Let's hear it, but write it down and let's have it as a book.
Okay. All right.
The DM's role is to essentially create a story, and for it to be fluid enough that the characters are able to turn it into a plot.
Yeah, well, and it's not just to create the story, because I mean, I wouldn't have a story without you guys, and like half the stuff that's happened, it's like I set the groundwork for the story that we all tell together, and yeah, if it's just my story, then D&D is not the place to do it.
Okay, well, I am going to go, and...
Alright, I am going to end the stream here. Thank you to all of our viewers, both present and future.
Show my beautiful face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright.
But yeah, this situation